What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
7 nanoseconds. Chapter 216. As soon as the voice fell, Lem and the others had come to Su Yu's side. Yes, they were exactly the same as Su Yu before he disappeared. You finally came back, we have been waiting for you for decades. Dinasa said softly. If you don't have a better reason, don't want to eat the food I cooked in the future. Lem folded her hands and put it on her chest, and said in anger. That's right, let us come here, and then we disappeared secretly, in order to punish you, remove our previous ship regulations prohibiting me from drinking. The tornado floated in the sky, facing solemnly. Su Yu said. Tisk tisk tisk, tornado, you are too cunning, you are not taking advantage of the mess. Wu Luki said slightly surprised, yes, he never expected that tornado would say that. Don't think about it, don't you forget that in the past few years, on my island, you blew up half of my village because of drinking. Senju Hashirama interjected. That was an accident. Tornado hurriedly explained that Yu Guang looked at Su Yu and paid attention to Su Yu's expression, but he already knew that when Senju Hashirama said this, Su Yu could not agree to remove the ship rules. Ha 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 ha. Everyone couldn't help laughing. Su Yu on the side naturally laughed. It's this feeling, a familiar warm feeling. Okay, stop making trouble, everyone is serious, but we are fighting, after the battle is over, I will tell you all the truth when I go back. Su Yu explained. Suddenly, Su Yu's voice just fell off. Several ice spears flew directly towards Su Yu's group. Boom. Blasted directly. Have you hit it? Aokiji said softly. But when the smoke dissipated, Su Yu and the others reappeared in everyone's field of vision. At this time, a blue skeleton arm directly enveloped Su Yu and them. Yes, this is really the Susanoo released by Madara Uchi. Sudden attack, tusk tusk, it looks like you in marine style. Uchiha Madara said with a sneer. How come these three old men look familiar? Aizen glanced at them and said lightly. Hearing this, the three old stars shuddered. What a joke, it was this man who turned the original five elders into the current three old stars. Yes, he couldn't beat this man in the golden period of the year, not to mention that he is now in a dying year. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Damn, things have developed into an uncontrollable situation. One of the old men said softly. Yeah, now the Whitebeard pirate group has joined forces with the Super Dimension pirate group, and our marine is already horrible. The old man in the middle said calmly. A-hole, we all thought it had been decades, their original heart of being a pirate has long gone, I didn't expect. Then what should we do now? If there is a fight, I have a hunch that we can't control the situation at all. The whole army can only be on guard. After making this decision, one of the elders directly destroyed the equipment that broadcast to the world, and their approach is also very simple. They must not let people watching the live broadcast all over the world see the embarrassing scene of Marine. Sengoku, who was standing on the execution platform, also understood the meaning of the three old stars, and shouted directly to the phone bug. Everyone is in a state of emergency. This ship that fell from the sky is an old ship. Their pirate group is called the Super Dimension Pirate Group, and their captain is Su Yu, who just flew there. The man next to Whitebeard. All those who came out of that ship just now were his crew. In the face of Sengoku's disclosure, this news definitely exploded, and both Marine and Shichibukai were shocked. No, that Aizen is the leader of the World Blade, offering a reward of 4.8 billion. Unexpectedly, he still has an identity, he is actually a member of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. There was despair in the eyes of one of the Marine soldiers. Also, how can this not be desperate? This is the leader of the world's blade, the most important thing is that he still has a captain, isn't his captain even stronger, but thinking of this, who can not despair? Yeah, even the 4.8 billion guys are just crew members, so how terrible their captain would be, another Marine continued. The blade of the world, what Marshal Sengoku said, the Super Dimension Pirates, plus the Whitebeard Pirates, one of the four emperors, we Marine simply can't resist such a powerful lineup. It's over. We Marine are going to be over. Interesting, so interesting. This trip is worth it. I didn't expect to encounter the pirates of the old era. Doflamingo put his hands in his trouser pockets, his mouth slightly raised, revealing a touch of meaning. Smile. Even the head of World Blade is his crew. It seems that this trip is worth it. I met an amazing guy. Mahawk said lightly. He was a little relieved in his heart. He hadn't found anyone to discuss it for many years. Now, I finally found one. If there was no problem with his weapon just now, no doubt, they might still be competing with swordsmanship. Diaresis, what's all this? Gecko Moria looked dumbfounded. It was obviously a war caused by Whitebeard's rescue of Ace, but his aim changed because of how he was fighting. Moreover, the most important thing is that the time for the execution of Ace has passed. What about the executioner? Why did Sengoku mention the execution? Gecko Moria couldn't figure this out. Of course, the reason for all this is naturally because of the arrival of Su Yu, because of the arrival of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Now, the execution of Ace is already a trivial matter in Sengoku's eyes. What the hell are these, now? Hancock stood aside, also somewhat unrecovered. At the same time, the other side. Kaido and his group landed on the island fortunately. FK. Wong Nuo's B********D. He almost killed him again. Su Yu, You are already the same as Captain Locks. Your name has been erased by history. Why do you still appear? Kaido crawls go ashore, facing the sky. And not far from him, there are 3 powerful cadres, 3 disasters, and some other capable members. Yes, they all survived. Jack, you be *******D, you almost killed us. Look at whose boat you are not good on, that guy's boat. Quinn took a greedily breath and cursed. I lean on a red-haired boat. Who knew that a monster ran out of his boat? Jack replied unwillingly. In his style, undoubtedly, without knowing it, even if he came once, he would still say, you think who I am, and let the ship go over. Chapter 217. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Who cares about this? It's because of you anyway that we almost disappeared. Quinn got up directly from the ground angrily and said unconvincedly at Jack. Jack lying on the ground heard this and immediately got up. So, what do you want to do? I have said that I rely on the red-haired Shanks ship. Who would have thought that he would stay on the ship with Captain Kaido? Level guy. The two are about to fight, and one of the 3 plagues, Jin, said, okay, you two, is there enough trouble? Captain Kaido is still here. The 2 of them glanced at each other in disgust, then walked in Kaido's direction. Captain Kaido, are you, all right? Kaido glanced at them when he heard the words, and then said lightly, I can't die. Now he has a deeper resentment towards Suyu, but Kaido is very upset because he can't understand him and can't get rid of him. Then, what should we do next? Do you still attack the Whitebeard gang? Jack asked. Kaido sits up and casts a sharp gaze at Jack, then coldly said, are you sure you are not joking with me? Is it still unclear what is going on? Get the phone bugs from you. Mine is gone. Mine too. Mine is still there, Quinn said, and quickly handed Kaido the phone worm on his body. Do you know what that old woman's number is? Kaido asked them suddenly. Old woman. When everyone heard the words, they were slightly startled. 693. Charlotte Linlin. I know. Immediately after using them to enter the number, the phone worm quickly reached Charlotte Linlin. Hey, who? On the phone worm, Charlotte Linlin's expression was captured. It's me, Linlin. Hearing this voice, Charlotte Linlin's eyes flickered slightly, and the smile on her face was much weird. It's you, Kaido. What's the matter? Nothing else. I'm looking for you this time, just to tell you that the storm of this sea is coming. Kaido said calmly. Huh, what the hell? According to the information I have, didn't you guy attack Whitebeard? Isn't it, Kaido? Charlotte Linlin asked. Don't worry about Whitebeard for now, Suyu is back, and I have already played against him, and his strength is stronger. Kaido said calmly. Suyu. Charlotte Linlin heard that the smile on her face disappeared, and she continued to speak only after dozens of seconds of silence. What's the joke? That guy has no idea how many years he has been dead. You suddenly told me that he is back. Are you kidding me? Who told you he died? He just disappeared. Now that he comes back, we will definitely be affected. Kaido retorted. So, why are you looking for me? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Let's join hands to get rid of him. I refuse, Charlotte Linlin said solemnly. Whatever you want, if he asks you to start the pot first, I won't take care of you. Kaido also expressed his attitude at this time, if Charlotte Linlin does not agree to join forces at this time. If Suyu troubles her behind that, then Kaido directly assumes that he hasn't seen it. Ha 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 ha, Charlotte Linlin laughed and then reminded. Don't forget, Kaido, you owe me a great favor. What kind of favor? Don't you say you forgot. That's what happened before. No, it's the kindness of a lifetime, Charlotte Linlin said firmly. Kaido listened to Charlotte Linlin's tone and felt extremely upset. It took dozens of seconds before he was relieved, and then continued to Charlotte Linlin, will you join forces? Come to me. To be specific, I'll talk about it when I meet. Upon hearing this, Kaido already knew that the joint matter was almost done. When the words fell, he directly threw the phone worm into the sea. Damn old lady, if Suyu didn't show up, I would never contact you in my life. Meanwhile, Charlotte Linlin sighed. After finishing the call with Kaido, her face didn't look good, she clenched her fist tightly. Suyu. I seem to have heard this name from my mother many years ago. Below, Charlotte Katakuri, a senior cadre who belongs to the BIGMOM pirate group and one of the 3 general stars, said. The BIGMOM pirate group is a group of pirates established with family as the core and blood as the bond. All of her capable cadres are Charlotte Linlin's sons or daughters. Really, I haven't heard my mother mention it, but even Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, asked for her mother's help. Presumably that guy named Suyu is definitely not easy. Sha belongs to one of the 3 generals. Lot Smoky said. Yes, Suyu is a pirate of the same era as ours. Many years ago, the Sea Lord Locks was defeated by him and Roger. That guy Kaido suffered many losses on him back then, and he disappeared originally, but he didn't expect that he has reappeared now. Damn it, because Kaido contacted me, it made me feel bad. Charlotte Linlin said slightly angrily. Mom, do we need to do something? Charlotte Katakuri asked. Charlotte Linlin shook his head, you can't help. That guy is a monster. Wait for Kaido to come and let me see what he can say. By the way, what's the matter with you guys coming to me? The cake that Mom wants is ready, we'll come to let you know. Charlotte Katakuri said. As soon as she heard the cake, Charlotte Linlin let out a smile, her drooling tongue, and licked her lips. At the same time, Malin Vander. Marine has already retreated, and Sengoku has also stepped down from Ace's execution table, and merged with San Lao Xing, San Admiral, and Garp and Crane. Sakazuki, when I had a meeting before, didn't I have already focused on reminding him? Why don't I run to him alone? Sengoku asked. If Akainu hadn't followed his advice, he wouldn't lose an arm. That's right, I'm a good lesson from the past, Sakazuki, why don't you stop my opinion? It's fine now. Although my life is saved, I lost an arm. Kizaru pretended to be sorry. Akainu frowned. He didn't guess. Devil fruit can be called subordinate or superior, but lava fruit can't compare with his fruit. I admit that it was my carelessness, you don't need to blame me, I have already paid the price. Akainu said tyrannically. Now it's troublesome. All the guys from the Super Dimension Pirate Group are here. With the addition of the Whitebeard Pirate Group, we have no chance of winning at all. The old man's words interrupted the topic of Akainu. There is no way, I can only see what they want to do. Sengoku said helplessly. Why? Fire Fist Ace is still on the execution stage. Isn't the time for the execution already over? Why hasn't it been executed yet? Akainu asked Sengoku. Sakazuki, haven't you figured out the current situation? Sengoku said coldly. That's right, the current focus and it's not the execution of Fire Fist Ace, but the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Do you know what this pirate group represents? They are even more vicious than the Roger Pirate Group. They attacked the Holy Land Mary Geois twice at the beginning, and we were both patient with them to no avail. The old man said in a deep voice. There will be another order to kill the devil. Every time we return empty-handed. Sengoku added. At the same time, Whitebeard, Marco, and the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates also disembarked. And their walking direction is exactly the direction of the execution platform. Chapter 218. Ready to fight. Sengoku yelled to the phone bug. Tatata. Some marine soldiers holding long guns ran in front of Sengoku and others, then squatted down and aimed at Suyu and his group. The atmosphere at this time was very weird, and all marines were very uneasy. Do you think we can win? One of the marine soldiers in the team looked at it said. No, I don't know, Marshal Sengoku said, these guys are pirate giants of the old age, you don't see Marshal Sengoku's face, it's hard to see the extreme, to be honest, for so long this is the first time I have seen Marshal Sengoku's expression. Another marine soldier said in a deep voice. Then put it this way, are we 9 dead this time? Shish, keep it quiet, although I didn't say it clearly, but it should be so right. Is this Super Dimension Pirate Group really so scary? Vicious representative, do you think it is joking with you? If I can get out of here alive, I have decided, I am not a marine. As soon as his words fell, Suyu uttered a voice. Garp, Sengoku, steel bone empty, long time no see. Suyu said with a smile. However, Sengoku and the others couldn't laugh, they still kept their faces straight, looking at Suyu and them. Suyu, I think this time it has nothing to do with your Super Dimension Pirates. The Fire Fist Ace we executed has nothing to do with you. Gengukong said in a deep voice. Yes, they plan to use these methods to try to dissuade Suyu. Don't forget, Roger invited me to have a drink back then, so how can I say it should be said today? Suyu also casually mentioned a reason. That said, you have to control what you must do today. Aizen, Hashirama, Madara, do you want to take action too? If I guess correctly, the world government has not been in contact with you for many years. Do you want to destroy this peace? Gengukong asked. Yes, there are other members of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. As long as you leave today, we can assume that nothing has happened, and we will never pursue you for anything in the future. Sengoku added to the agreement. Yes, the first method did not work, and they prepared the second method, which was to provoke their relationship. However, it is a pity that their loyalty to Suyu is 100%. Do you really think I'm afraid of your world government? Aizen's mouth raised slightly. If he didn't find it boring, he would have endorsed the world government. Peace. We never need peace from others. Only strength can hold peace in our own hands. Uchiha Madara sneered. And put away your stupid thoughts to provoke us, our Super Dimension Pirate Group is one. Tornado said disdainfully. Listen, they have said what I want to say. As soon as Suyu's voice fell, he just wanted to add something. At this moment, behind, a shout sounded the entire battlefield. Ace, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Suyu turned his head in doubt, and it was the protagonist in the original book who was shouting, dumbfounded, Monkey D. Luffy. With the appearance of Luffy, there is no doubt that Garp and Ace are the two who reacted the most. As for Suyu's original calm look, to him, both Luffy and Ace are nothing more than strangers. Although Suyu has a good friendship with Whitebeard and Roger, he is still Roger's son, but 1 yard goes to 1 yard. Roger is Roger and he is him. Garp was blown up at this moment, and his troubles happened one after another. Luffy B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* big enough. Crane whispered beside Garp. Garp looked helpless, and he had no choice. He also wanted to guide Ace and Luffy to be Marine. Luffy was directly brainwashed by red hair, and has never been with Marine ever since. However, strictly speaking, the Garp family is really special. Garp's son, Monkey D. Dragon, became the leader of the Revolutionary Army, with the goal of overthrowing the world government equals and his father as an enemy. Thinking that the son can't handle it, the grandson can always do it. As a result, the grandson becomes a pirate equals it is equal to the grandfather's enemy. I have to say that Garp doesn't collapse. What can I do? I once said that I wanted this kid to be a marine, but I didn't expect to be brainwashed by the red-haired kid directly. Garp cursed. The red-haired guy. Ah, he sighed helplessly. Luffy is the subject of the current topic, his appearance, obviously, many people have begun to talk about it. At the same time, behind the main naval headquarters building, there was a faint laughter. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect that the straw hat guy just came here. Blackbeard chuckled softly. Blackbeard, named Marshall D. Teach, known as Blackbeard, was the admiral of the Blackbeard Pirates. He was originally a member of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. After defeating Ace, he officially became one of 7 warlords of the sea. Find flowers. Like Luffy, he came here from Impel Down, and he was still in Impel Down, recruiting several members with good strength. Since they have just arrived, they currently don't know what happened before, and they don't know who owns the huge warship that is parked on the side of the battlefield. Of course, don't think they will come up. Their purpose is to wait until Marine and the Whitebeard Pirates are about to fight before they come out to pick up the bargain. However, the current situation is somewhat beyond his expectations. Hey, why didn't they fight anymore? Who are those people who appeared? Are they the new pirates that the old man joined? Blackbeard said, slightly surprised. I don't know anyone. The man standing next to Blackbeard responded. I don't know either. They are people who haven't met. As you said, they are the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates. Another man continued. Blackbeard didn't take it too seriously, but he leaked a wretched smile and continued. Hurry up and fight, hurry up, the more fierce the fight, the better. At the same time, the atmosphere on Su Yu's side was already extremely strange. Boom. Suddenly at this moment, a certain marine directly pulled the trigger due to his mental strain, and a bullet shot directly at Tornado. However, when the tornado was about to resist, suddenly the tornado directly intercepted it with superpowers. Then, the bullet fell directly to the ground. Who shot it? Sengoku suddenly furious. No doubt, this is proof of direct war. Yes, I'm sorry. The marine soldier was paralyzed and sat on the ground. Su Yu's expression did not change too much. At this time, Su Yu spoke. Everyone, haven't seen you for so many years, so your ability hasn't fallen behind. Nonsense. Well, let these little guys of the new era see what a righteous pirate is. Chapter 219. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. When Su Yu said this, the faces of Sengoku and his party became even more ugly. Undoubtedly, these words meant that the battle had begun. However, the marine soldier Sengoku who had misfired his spear did not care too much. After all, the battle between Marine and Su Yu was only a matter of time. If so, we have no choice but to fire. Accompanied by Sengoku's roar, the gun barrel built on the naval headquarters building stretched out, but they were not aimed at Su Yu and the others, but Su Yu's ship. Bang bang bang. The sound of a cannonball fired continuously. Looking at the countless cannonballs in the sky, Su Yu frowned slightly. These old things are still insidious. If people don't fight, we won't be able to move if we fight them specially. Give it to me. Tornado took the initiative to say, and then quickly flew towards the ship. As soon as he left, Aizen on the side said, actually, it doesn't matter whether we go or not. Their shells cannot penetrate our ship's defenses. Yes, Su Yu, let me tell you that after our boat was transformed by Aizen, no matter what it was, it has been greatly improved. Wu Luki slightly said to Su Yu, although he did not participate in the transformation, he would use the weapons on the ship. Figure it out. Su Yu looked at this brand new ship and answered simply. At the same time, Tornado is over there. She fell on the railing of the ship and looked at the cannonballs falling like raindrops. When the cannonballs fell to a certain height, suddenly they all stopped. No doubt, they were all wrapped in a faint green light. What's the matter? All the shells have stopped. The marine soldier was dumbfounded when he saw this scene. She is demon fruit power, the type should be able to manipulate objects with thoughts. One of the men guessed. Is that so? If that's the case, isn't our artillery attack and bullet attack all useless? It's really difficult. Give it back to you. The tornado faintly. In the next second, these shells shot out as if they had spirituality, and turned around and shot them directly. Boom, boom. The explosion sounded continuously. Seeing that his plan failed, Sengoku frowned slightly, but he didn't take it to heart. After all, he had already thought of this possibility at the beginning. Our captain keeps telling us that we must come and go as a human being. If you give us this gift, we will naturally give you a big gift. Seeing Tornado speaking solemnly, Su Yu was a little confused. When did he tell them? However, none of this is important anymore. As soon as the tornado's voice fell, a huge meteorite that was still braving in flames fell straight down in the atmosphere. The sound of meteorites tearing the air sounded across the battlefield. Everyone raised their heads in unison, and then their faces became stiff. Whitebeard's group, who had been running towards the execution platform, stopped. I'm going, we must be affected by such a big meteorite. Marco frowned. I have seen that a little girl on their ship has such a terrifying strength. The Super Dimension Pirate group is indeed what Sengoku said is a vicious pirate. Joe said calmly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Little girl, grum la la la. Whitebeard couldn't help laughing at what his son said. Don't be funny, sons, looks are only used to describe us. The members of the Super Dimension Pirate Group can't judge the size by their looks at all. What? Undoubtedly, when Whitebeard's words came out, Marco and the others looked dumbfounded. They all seem to have the ability to live forever. These Suyu crews are undoubtedly the same as when I first met them. After so many years, their appearance remains the same. Whitebeard explained. One sentence. Everyone, all have, the ability to live forever. Hiss. Marco took a breath, and his tone began to deepen. What kind of pirate group is this super-dimensional pirate group? It's incredible. I'm afraid, this is not something that humans can do at all. Joe's also felt incredible. Father, maybe, Suyu can help you relieve your old injuries. Marco suddenly changed the subject. Listening to Marco's words, Whitebeard leaked a smile. My body is very good, and don't worry about the meteorite. What we have to do is to rescue Ace first. The meteorite will naturally be dealt with. As Whitebeard said, when the meteorite was at a certain height, Mihawk, the world's most powerful swordsman, shot. I saw him brandishing a few black sword yi, and the meteorite disintegrated directly, turning into countless large and small boulders and falling down. The melee also started at this moment. In Marine, all three old stars, veterans, or Akainu with a broken arm joined the battle. Originally, Suyu planned to let Lem, Kana, and Ram leave, but they didn't expect that they insisted on fighting, and Suyu finally had to compromise. Let alone, they have become stronger, but Kong Na's words, she should have always been very strong. Because of the beginning of the battle, the entire Marin Vander continued to vibrate. Obviously, according to this situation, the entire naval headquarters would sink to the bottom of the sea in a short time. Where did these guys come from? They can resist all Marine's combat power. Blackbeard said in surprise. However, what makes him even more annoyed is that if this happens, his plan will be ruined. Damn, isn't this a battle between the Whitebeard pirates and Marine? Where did these guys come from? Blackbeard's expression changed. Boss, the group of Whitebeard is coming towards us. If we are still here, maybe we will be seen. The man on the side exhorted Blackbeard. Well, it makes sense. I can't show it to Dad. Now most of his members are free, and some are fighting against Marine. Together, we can't beat them. Blackbeard analyzed. Indeed, in the case of Heads Up, regardless of the dying years of Whitebeard, but the strength is still to beat Blackbeard. Boss, you see that there is no huge ship over there. If your plan really fails, I think we can steal that huge ship, the man standing behind Blackbeard suggested. Tisk tusk tusk, that giant ship looks not simple, but it feels very powerful. I am a little curious, how did it get up, is it possible to fly? Another man guessed. Listening to them, Blackbeard's eyes fixed on Suyu's giant ship. He must have noticed that this ship is different from other ships. This ship is not an ordinary ship, but no matter whether my plan fails or not, we have to get hands on my ship. Blackbeard's mind suddenly flashed this idea at this time. Now Whitebeard is rushing toward us, and the current battlefield situation is so chaotic, I think we can sneak onto the ship and take it down in advance. One of the men gave Blackbeard an opinion. Hearing the words, Blackbeard raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and then said with a chuckle, that's right, it's definitely a good place to hide. It just so happens that we can also see what kind of ship this is. After this plan was established, Blackbeard quickly took action. In order not to be found by Whitebeard, he made a big circle, avoiding the eyeliner, and then rushed towards Suyu's boat. Boom! Uchiha Madara shuttled on the battlefield, his body coming and going freely, and the marine soldiers fell to the ground one by one. Do you want to dance too? Uchiha Madara grabbed the marine soldier by the neck and Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan watched him. However, before Uchiha Madara could act, the marine soldier fainted. Uchiha Madara just threw it casually, but, at the same time, a marine lieutenant general with a long sword in his hand slashed directly at Uchiha Madara. Just let me meet you. With a roar and a bang, Lieutenant General Marine flew out directly. Uchiha Madara stared at him who fell on the ground, and then said coldly, it's not as good as me. Just when he was about to take a shot, he saw a few sneaky people 3.6 in his peripheral vision. While looking at the surrounding situation, he wanted to sneak up on the giant ship. Soon, Blackbeard and his group sneaked up and said with a smile, it seems that it's going to be smoother than I expected. As soon as the voice fell, a voice came not far away. Really, I don't think you are so smooth. Blackbeard heard the reputation, and not far away, on a rocking chair, Uchiha Madara was already lying there, looking at them. Who are you? Blackbeard asked in a deep voice, and at the same time, several of his other members climbed up. Who am I? Ha ha. Uchi Madara sneered, then slowly stood up and continued. What you said is so funny, you climb on my boat and ask who am I? It's your ship. Hearing what Uchi Madara said, Blackbeard laughed and continued. Sorry, from now on, this ship belongs to our Blackbeard pirates. Chapter 220. As Blackbeard's voice fell, beside him, the crew members recruited from Impel Down leaked out insidious laughter. Blackbeard pirates. What does it matter if you are Whitebeard? Uchiha Madara obviously froze when he heard about the Blackbeard pirates. Yes, he thought Blackbeard was the Whitebeard brothers or something. However, if you look closely, there is no similarity at all, and the temperament is very different from Whitebeard. Whitebeard is my daddy, Blackbeard said with a grin. Of course, he didn't panic either. Whitebeard was indeed his dad once, but he had defected now. Hearing that it was the person under the Whitebeard ship, Uchiha Madara's murderous intent had receded a lot, and then he exhorted, "Leave quickly, this ship belongs to us." He. Father has given me this ship, if you have any questions, please contact me father. Obviously, the current Blackbeard took Whitebeard out for the purpose of not having to fight to capture the ship. After all, Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors, is still very majestic to outsiders. It is your honor to ask you to ship, how can you not let it? However, that's just an outsider. For Su Yu, whether you are a 4 or 12 emperor or a world government, if you touch their pirate group, that is the bottom line. You grit, I'm afraid you are dreaming. Uchiha Madara said, and the killing intent on his body slowly rose again. Seeing that Uchiha Madara didn't give in, Blackbeard didn't take it too seriously, and laughed wretchedly. Ha 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 ha, it seems that the old man is indeed old, his reputation is no longer useful, kill him. Speaking of the back, he asked the crew members behind him. Immediately afterwards, the crew members recruited from Impel Down immediately raised various spear pairs to prepare Uchiha Madara. Then he pulled the trigger with a bloodthirsty smile. Boom! One bullet shot from the muzzle, flying Uchiha Madara. However, at this moment, a blue light suddenly appeared on Uchiha Madara's body, followed by a skeleton arm blocking the front. Dang dang dang. All the bullets were defended by Susanoo. Immediately after Uchiha Madara, his hands quickly formed the seal, and then he took a breath and shouted, "Fire style, the fire is extinguished." Call. A huge flame shot directly from his mouth, like a mouth of blood, rushing towards Blackbeard and them fiercely. According to this situation, within a second, they would swallow the raging fire on their backs. I saw their pupils shrank violently, yes, they were also shocked by the sudden huge flame. However, Blackbeard responded quickly and saw the black gas coming out of him constantly, using his devil fruit ability to protect himself. Blackbeard's devil fruit is Logia dark fruit. Known as the most dangerous ability in the history of devil fruit, it possesses a strange and dark gravitational force. At the same time, it is also a very special existence in Logia, which cannot elementify the body of the capable person. When using abilities, the hands will turn black and the body will emit black smoke. It can inhale, compress and crush everything in contact with darkness. It also has the ability to attract people from the air, and those who can touch with their hands, regardless of the type of function, which temporarily disables the ability. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After eating, it cannot be immune to external damage through elementalization like other Logia, but absorbs damage. It can also absorb fruit attacks, such as the attacks used by Whitebeard in the original work, but the absorption range is very small and can only be received by hand through dark water. Useless for long-range and large-scale attacks. Uchiha Madara's fire-style fire extinguishment directly lit up the entire battlefield, and the temperature rose rapidly. What's going on? I don't know, a flame of such a huge area suddenly appeared. I just saw it. It flew out of that ship. The level of development of devil fruit is absolutely very high. This flame, is it Ace? Yes, it's really possible. This ability is very similar to Ace's Mera Mera fruit. You are stupid to say that it is Ace, Ace is over there. A member of the Whitebeard pirate group who joined the pirate group retorted. Everyone looked around, and as expected, Ace was rescued by Whitebeard and Luffy. Of course, if it weren't for Su Yu, I'm afraid it would not be so easy to save, because Su Yu and the others directly attracted the entire marine combat power. However, Ace was obviously taken aback when he saw the huge flame spewing from the giant ship. Who is it? This ability is very similar to my Mera Mera fruit's ability. Ace said softly. Don't care who it is, great, Ace, you are finally saved. Luffy's solemn mood finally disappeared after Ace was saved. Luffy, why did you come? Ace asked suspiciously. Just as Luffy wanted to answer, Whitebeard said directly, okay, don't talk nonsense, when you safely evacuate here, you are reminiscing about the old. That's right, but Daddy, I have a question for you, is the Super Dimension Pirates powerful? Ace raised his head and stared at Whitebeard. Whitebeard froze for a moment, then touched Ace's head, calmly said, from the current perspective, the overall strength of the current Super Dimension Pirate Group far exceeds that of every 4 Emperors Pirate Group in New World. No wonder, Ace said lightly, what's happening? It's no wonder that Sengoku guy looked so hard to see the extreme when he saw the pirate flag of this ship. Ace said slowly. Just as the words fell, Marco's voice came directly from the side. Daddy. I saw that guy teach. Undoubtedly, the words teach sounded, whether it was Ace or Whitebeard's eyes suddenly flashed. Over there, Whitebeard and Ace spoke almost in unison. On Su Yu's boat, they are now fighting with a member of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Marco Wei reported. Teach. Ace yelled angrily, and just took a step, wanting to continue to accomplish what 693 hadn't done, but unexpectedly, he was directly caught by Whitebeard. Enough, Ace. Father. Ace looked at Whitebeard in surprise. Let me take care of it myself. But, you lead Ace back to the ship, and then support Su Yu. I can participate in the battle too, Daddy. Not this time. Daddy. Whitebeard ignored him, holding the naginata in his hand, Kong Yunchi walked in the direction of the huge ship. At the same time, Blackbeard sighed, really, since Uchiha Madara hit the first blow, Blackbeard has admired him and wanted to recruit him as his crew. Well, as long as you come, I will give you a position equivalent to the deputy captain. As long as you and I work together, my plan can still be implemented very well. Blackbeard said with a sincere expression. Uchiha Madara looked at him coldly, telling the truth, he was a little impatient. You do not deserve. Trust me, only I can be your captain. Blackbeard said with a grin. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha Madara laughed directly. You don't know anything about power. Chapter 221. Because something happened this morning, the update was late. If nothing else, the author will update it tomorrow and upload 3 to 4 chapters directly in the early morning. If Suyu is on the sidelines, Uchiha Madara will definitely pretend to ask Suyu. He said he is more suitable to be my captain than you. Let's see how Suyu will react. However, it is a pity that Suyu is not there. There is no way, Uchiha Madara has no interest in playing at all. I won't kill you before I give up completely. Blackbeard said slightly confidently. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara laughed out loud as if he heard a big joke. You mean, you can kill me at any time? While speaking, Uchiha Madara took out his sickle behind him and pointed it at Blackbeard. Blackbeard did not answer, but looked at Uchiha Madara with a smile. This self-righteous smile directly made Uchiha Madara angry, and saw him waving the sickle in his hand and rushing towards Blackbeard at an extremely fast speed. So fast. Blackbeard shuddered in fright, quickly jumped back and jumped off the huge ship. However, before landing, Uchiha Madara's sickle slashed directly on the abdomen above the air. After falling to the ground, Blackbeard rolled and froze. It hurts. At the same time, Uchiha Madara raised the sickle in his hand and waved it directly. Upon seeing this, Blackbeard had to hold back the pain and rolled directly to the side. Boom. Uchiha Madara cut a hole directly, the ground cracked directly, and a puff of smoke rose slowly. If it's so, don't blame me. Outside the smoke, Blackbeard's angry voice came. Uchiha Madara and Blackbeard, obviously, Uchiha Madara is far superior to him. After all, except Dark Fruit, your Blackbeard basically has no other outstanding abilities. As for Uchiha Madara, others can use physical skills, swordsmanship, and use illusion and ninjutsu. Even after coming to this world, he has also learned armament haki and seeing and hearing, but he has not yet awakened Conqueror's haki. Therefore, this battle was known before it even started. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. On Suyu's side, the current battle is also very fierce. Aizen once again faced the 3 old stars, Hashirama faced Sengoku, and Denisha and the others were fighting Marine Admiral. As for Suyu, he fought with Garp and paid attention to the situation of Rem and the others. It's great, our opponent is this little lowly. The leading Colonel Marine was ecstatic. Yes, almost everyone in the Super Dimension Pirates group looked uncomfortable, but they were so cute now that they saw this, and seemed to be very bullied. That's right, the little lowly standing in front of them is Kana. Brothers, catch her alive, but you have to remember, don't go too fast, we will be sent to deal with the other pirates. Colonel Marine said confidently. Okay, Colonel Clay, like this kind of little lowly, I feel like I can beat 10 by myself. Ha 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 ha, it's okay, don't be too proud, catch a child like this, you still look triumphant. However, what the hell is this Super Dimension Pirate group? Is there a serious shortage of people? Otherwise, how could such a small Lolita get on board? Perhaps, someone adopted it, maybe. Yeah, it's possible. You guys don't get the ink, it turned out to belong to the Super Dimension Pirates, even if you are this small, you can't relax your vigilance too much. On the other side, a marine soldier with a beard and scumbag exhorted. Kona, the marine soldier who was slowly approaching like a jackal, frowned slightly. Don't even think that Kong Na is from a daily comedy show, her combat effectiveness is also very impressive. I saw her hands put together, and in the next second, a light particle condensed on her hand, followed by getting bigger and bigger, and finally formed an energy ball. Drink. With a soft and cute voice, Kong Na directly shot the energy ball in her hand. Call out. The diameter of a beam of light shot out, directly causing a huge explosion wherever it passed. In an instant, the entire ground shook slightly. The huge smoke and dust instantly enveloped Kong Na's side, and because of this explosion, many people also cast their eyes on it. As time passed by, the smoke and dust thinned. Just now, when Kona was attacked, some marine soldiers who had escaped from death stared straight at the deep ditch in front of them. Quote. Diaresis she is just a little lowly, why does she have such power? Guru, what the hell is this guy, damn it, what kind of monster is the Super Dimension Pirate group? Too strong, if this goes on, we will all die. And that Colonel Marine, his face was so pale that he looked like a dead body. Yeah, I thought it was cheap, but I didn't expect that this looks harmless to humans and animals, but it is actually just a bomb. On Uchiha Madara's side, he has successfully beaten Blackbeard with blood all over his face. At this moment, Blackbeard was also dumbfounded. He didn't expect to encounter one at random, and his strength turned out to be crushing himself. Ended. Uji Wang Nuohao, Bo Madara said coldly, and then directly raised the sickle in his hand and chopped it down. Seeing this scene, Blackbeard's pupils shrank violently. According to the current situation, he had no time to dodge. A-hole, is lousy going to die in his hands. As soon as this word fell, a naginata was stretched out directly. Dang. A cry. It was directly blocked. Uchiha Madara and Blackbeard looked over at almost the same time, and what appeared in their eyes was undoubtedly a strong man with many scars on his body. Yes, he is Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors. Daddy, save me. Chapter 222. Yes, at this moment Blackbeard wants to play an emotional card with Whitebeard. After all, in the eyes of Blackbeard, he knew Whitebeard very well. No matter what crimes he committed, he was always a son. When Whitebeard heard the words, his icy eyes fell on the Blackbeard who was lying on the ground in an embarrassment. However, he didn't say a word, but put his eyes on Uchiha Madara again. What? Your son can't grab it, do you want to grab it yourself? Uchiha Madara asked lightly. Whitebeard was taken aback for a moment, with a surprised look on his face, and asked, what do you mean? What? Didn't you send this guy to grab our boat? Uchiha Madara said calmly. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Teach used to be my son, yes, but he betrayed him. Whitebeard expressed his attitude. Uchiha Madara looked at Whitebeard's eyes and sighed lightly. It doesn't matter, you don't have anything to do with him, then don't bother me. With that said, Uchiha Madara slowly raised the sickle again, and just cut it down. Blackbeard hurriedly said, Daddy, save me, Dad save me, I was wrong. Dang, a cry. Yes, Whitebeard blocked it again. Seeing this scene, Blackbeard's heart relaxed a lot. Just as he himself guessed, 697's own father was still reluctant to kill himself. If this is the case, he already knew that he seemed to be dying today. Uchiha Madara frowned slightly, and said impatiently, what are you guys doing? Please let me come. After all, he was once my son. Whitebeard said politely. Of course, this is also because Uchiha Madara is Suyu's crew. Otherwise, the arrogant Whitebeard would not have these polite words at all. Hearing what Whitebeard said, Uchiha Madara was silent for a few seconds, and then retracted the sickle. Okay, I don't want to interfere with your affairs. As he said, he put the sickle back on his back, then turned around, jumped up directly, and landed on the boat. As for Whitebeard to let it go, or to do something else, Uchiha Madara has no opinion. After all, he didn't put Blackbeard in his eyes from the beginning. Father. Blackbeard pretended to say something, just about to stand up staggeringly, and suddenly, something he had never expected happened. Whitebeard directly pressed his head with one hand, and then wrapped his hand with a white aperture. Obviously, this was his shock fruit ability. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Only you are not worthy of being my son. Teach. Boom. Whitebeard directly pressed his head to the ground, and the ground cracked directly around it, and then collapsed. Puff. A large mouthful of blood spurted directly from his mouth, and his eyes turned white. Because you violated the only iron rule on my ship, you killed your companion and let me take the life of your B*********** D and let him rest in peace. With that said, Whitebeard inserted the weapon in his other hand on the ground, and then clenched his fist. At this moment, his fist was covered with a white halo. Blackbeard panicked immediately after being held down, and quickly interceded. Papa, Papa, I was wrong, I was wrong. I'm your son, I'm your son. You don't deserve to be my son. Whitebeard exclaimed angrily. This anger directly made Blackbeard understand that the emotional card was useless at all. After all, just as Whitebeard slammed his fist at him, a black object suddenly appeared on Blackbeard's body. Just as Whitebeard's fist was about to hit Blackbeard's body, Blackbeard quickly stretched out his palm. When the pitch-black palm touched the white aperture, the black object thought of becoming a Uzumaki, directly absorbing the shock fruit launched on Whitebeard's fist. Useless old man, all the devil fruit abilities are in front of my abilities, and everything can't be displayed. This is the devil fruit abilities I grabbed from Sachi. Speaking of dark fruit, Blackbeard was a little complacent. Z forgot his situation at this moment. Seeing that his power attack was absorbed, Whitebeard was also slightly surprised, but he didn't believe it, and continued to raise his fist, and the white light circle continued to cover his fist. Follow. Punch quickly. Dark water. Blackbeard continued to use the previous moves. Obviously, the result this time was the same as before, directly absorbing the white aperture. The current picture is somewhat similar to the original, but the only difference is that Whitebeard is not hurt at all at this moment, and even his physical strength and mentality are in good condition. In the original book, his stomach was punched a few times, but because of his age, he had a fight with a Kainu, and his physical strength was almost exhausted. But even so, with the addition of Dark Fruit's ability, Whitebeard almost turned Blackbeard over. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Blackbeard also escaped from Whitebeard smoothly. Ha 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 ha, Daddy, you can't do it. Blackbeard evaded the blow and started taunting immediately. Whitebeard frowned slightly, and said solemnly, embarrassment, indiscretion, is your weakness. As he said, Whitebeard's fists were suddenly covered with a white aperture. Seeing this scene, Blackbeard's face is still the same as before. After all, in his eyes, his own ability can absorb Shock Fruit's attack. In other words, Whitebeard's fruit ability is in his Blackbeard, which is useless at all. In this way, there is nothing to worry about. However, just as Whitebeard rushed over, he casually pulled out the Naginata Konganshi that was stuck on the ground. Guru. At this time, Blackbeard panicked directly. His ability is effective for Shock Fruit, but not for this Naginata. A-hole father. Chapter 223. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. As soon as Blackbeard's words fell, the Naginata in Whitebeard's hand moved up and down. Naginata directly left a flint on Blackbeard's abdomen, and Uchiha Madara's flint, just so, the scar directly formed an X shape. It hurts. Blackbeard hit the ground directly, and Whitebeard's cut was deeper than Uchiha Madara's. Teach, didn't you just look complacent just now? Stand up for me, Whitebeard said coldly. A-hole father, today's things are indeed a bit unexpected, I never dreamed that it would be such a result. Blackbeard stood up with a grim expression. Suddenly, Whitebeard grabbed Blackbeard with one hand directly, and then wrapped his fist directly with the white aperture, and then pressed it directly to the ground. Boom. Puff. Another big mouthful of blood, Blackbeard directly felt dizzy, dazzled. Father, forgive me. Father, forgive me right. I know I was wrong. I said, only you, Teach is not worthy to be my son. Whitebeard's face changed slightly, and he pressed Blackbeard's hand to increase his strength. With a bang, the ground sank a little deeper. This time, Blackbeard was completely stunned by Shock Fruit's ability. However, Whitebeard didn't intend to let him go just like that, but grabbed him directly and threw him in the sky. And he quickly posed a pose. Yes, this pose was exactly the one that just started using Shock Fruit's ability. As Blackbeard dropped due to inertia, Whitebeard's fist also slammed. Crack. It cracked like a glass barrier, and Blackbeard seemed to explode directly in midair. Puff. He sprayed a mouthful of blood, and then fell to the ground. The ground was soon red with blood. Whitebeard stared coldly at Blackbeard below. Saki, rest in peace, I have already avenged you. Call. After taking a breath, Whitebeard activated the Shock Fruit ability again, and the surrounding ground cracked directly. Blackbeard's body fell directly, and then the rocks above shattered and fell one after another. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At the same time, on the sea, Red Hair Pirates is rushing to Malin Vander. How long will it take us to reach naval headquarters? Shanks asked in a deep voice, staring straight ahead. Boss, if there is no accident, we will be able to resist naval headquarters within an hour, one of the members said. Oh, I don't know what the current situation of naval headquarters is. I don't know if Whitebeard rescued Ace, and I don't know if Suyu flew to Malinfandu. Nonsense, you didn't see Suyu's flying speed before, and after two strokes, it disappeared. Ben Beckman replied. It would be a shame if we missed this battle. I really want to witness their demeanor. Locke stood on the bow and sighed lightly. Blame Kaido Guy, if we didn't have him to attack Whitebeard, we would have been to Malin Vando early. One of the crew members complained. Shanks smiled, this is something that can't be helped. Holy Land Mary Geois, Pangu City. On a huge chair, Yim was staring at a black screen projection, his face looked a little ugly. Master Yim, I really didn't expect that because of the appearance of Suyu, their crew members who hadn't appeared in New World for a long time would all show their heads at once. One of the men in a black robe said. Moreover, Mr. Sengoku turned off the live broadcast, naturally to reduce outsiders' disappointment in the world government. Another man in a black robe added. What do you think about this matter? I'm asked. Let's tell you, Lord Yim, this time the Marin Vatican War, we have a lot of bad luck. You know, according to the bounty situation, the strength of the Super Dimension Pirate Group is equal to the four of New Worlds, the Emperor of the Sea. In other words, this time our world government will suffer serious losses. Find flowers. Yes, it is one thing that the loss is serious. If our combat power is disintegrated, the situation behind will be very bad for us. Yes, now the Revolutionary Army, the Blade of the World, the Pirates, and the three forces are almost besieging our world government. Our situation is a bit tricky. I have guessed that our Marine has too little fresh blood. It seems that it is time to take the world conscription. You go down first, Malin Vander has new news, immediately report to me. I said calmly. Understood, Lord Yim. When the words fell, several men in black robes slowly retreated. At the same time, Yim slowly clenched his fist. Suyu, you shouldn't have appeared, your appearance destroyed the balance of the whole world. Naval headquarters, Malin Vander. Snapped. A gray-haired corpse was still on the ground. And this person who died was one of the three old stars. Strictly speaking, there are only the last two of the former five elders, and now the two have suffered different serious injuries. If this continues, it is very likely that five elders will disappear from this world forever. When I think about it, I'll say how familiar it is. The three of you are the ones who used to be on Mary Geois. Aizen said, leaking a playful smile. The faces of the remaining two old men were unusually ugly. The current situation has far exceeded the results they once budgeted. What is your purpose? One of the old men couldn't help but ask out loud. Purpose. Ha. Upon hearing this, Aizen laughed a few times. Overthrow the world government. Another old man continued to ask. Don't put gold on your face. I have no interest in your world government. If I want to, I am afraid you two cannot stand here today. Chapter 224. Of course, if Aizen really thought, I'm afraid the world has really changed a lot. However, it is a pity that here, Aizen is only interested in the secrets of Suyu. When the two old men heard that Aizen was not interested in overthrowing the world government, an idea came to mind. You don't want to be the enemy of the world government in your heart. Why don't we make a deal? One of the old men said tentatively. Transaction. With that, Aizen's mouth raised slightly. Yes, as long as you want, our world government will try our best to satisfy you. Another old man continued. Hearing what they said, Aizen said, then what do you want me to do? For you, it's very simple. You only need to leave the Super Dimension Pirate Group. You will continue to be the leader of your world blade. For today's affairs, our world government will not hold it accountable. Of course, their idea is to slowly pick up the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Okay, are you agreeing? The two old men were startled, staring at Aizen in front of them with cloudy eyes. Aizen smiled slightly. I mean, I shouldn't listen to your nonsense. As soon as the voice fell, Aizen disappeared directly in place, and appeared directly in front of them in the next second. Boom. With a crisp sound, the two old men flew out directly. However, also, Aizen's strength is already too strong, dealing with them is simply a breeze. At the same time, Su Yu, who was fighting Garp, hit his mind and suddenly heard a system reminder. Ding Dong summoned character Aizen unlock progress reached 50%. Reissue. Ding Dong. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the ability to summon the character Aizen Hogyoku. Please continue to cheer on the host. The higher the unlocking progress, the more the ability to summon characters can be obtained. With the sound of the system falling, Su Yu's body directly felt a strong sense of discomfort. Seeing the same Garp, he stopped the attack and quietly looked at Su Yu from the side. The feeling of discomfort is almost the same as before. It comes suddenly and goes suddenly. Hogyoku. Su Yu was stunned. You know, this thing is a good thing. In Shinigami, Hogyoku is quite a super powerful plugin. It has self-awareness and can absorb and manifest the hearts of things around itself. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. And it can protect the host's body from death. When the host's ability reaches its limit or its life is threatened, Hogyoku can make the host evolve endlessly to the next level. Excited Su Yu quickly opened his property panel. Host. Su Yu. Summon. Aizen, 75%, Lame, 70%, Hashirama, 80%, Wuluki, 70%, Jiraiya, 70%, Tornado, 70%, Wang Yi, 65%, Denisha, 65%, Kong Na, 65%, Uchiha Madara, 70%. Summoning character inheritance. Hito, Hogyoku, 0500s, Aizen, Ghost Blood, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode, Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Scroll, Eternal Mangekyo 861,000, Madara. Summoning value. 110,250,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Purple Fire, Max Thor, 1036 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1999 2000 Observation Hockey, 1999 2000 Conquerors Hockey, 1258 2000. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members 10/12. After a glance, Su Yu murmured, because Aizen's progress has increased by 5%, did I have to reissue the previous reward? Tisk tusk tusk tusk, this Hogyoku is really a good thing. Even, like Sharingan, he can directly use the running in degree to advance. The rough meaning is that Su Yu can directly enter the first, second, and third fusion state of Hogyoku by relying on the running in of the system. Just when Su Yu wanted to say something, Garp not far away said aloud. Stop it, Su Yu. Hearing that, Su Yu closed the attribute panel that only he could see, and then stared at Garp. What does Garp say now? It's no longer the kind of fierce fighting back then. Maybe, it's related to his old age. Isn't your marine provoking this battle? Su Yu asked with a smile. Ace has been rescued, there is no need to fight it down. Garp said lightly. As soon as the voice fell, Whitebeard also came to Su Yu's side. Su Yu glanced at Whitebeard and saw that there was no injury on his body, and then teased. Yes, Edward, the strength has not fallen for so many years. Goo la la la. Whitebeard laughed loudly. Huh, a bunch of kids, much worse than us back then. As he said, Whitebeard cast his gaze on Garp, and then said lightly. Ha 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 ha, I haven't seen you for decades, Garp, you have also become an old man. Garp frowned. You are not the same, who are you talking about? Is it over? Let's go. Su Yu whispered. I came to you for this. Okay, goodbye Garp. Su Yu waved his hand, turned and floated directly, and then began to call his crew to prepare to evacuate. Looking at the back of Whitebeard and Su Yu leaving, Garp moved a little in his heart. To be honest, he wanted to say thank you in person, but due to his identity, he swallowed these two words back. However, at the same time, Garp made a lot of determination. Yes, he is about to retire. Before long, the Whitebeard pirate group, his pirate group, and Su Yu's side, have already withdrawn from the battlefield. The blood-stained Akainu certainly can't watch them leave in vain. Don't try to escape. After all, on his unbroken arm, magma continuously sprayed from his hand, hitting the Su Yu ship that was flying. A lot of magma has flown past 3.6. Kana shouted from the stern of the ship. Everyone, don't do it. At this time, Wu Luki yelled, and then he quickly entered the cab. What is he doing? Su Yu asked. As we said, this ship has undergone major changes. Come, stand here and see how powerful it is, Senju Hashirama explained from the stern side. Su Yu didn't say anything, and walked over. He wanted to see. Aizen changed a lot, how powerful it is. Kaka. Around the ship, a distinctive barrel stretched out, and then aimed at the deep battlefield. Chapter 225. Sakazuki, I'm back soon. Garp yelled at Akainu in front of him. However, it is conceivable that Akainu did not listen at all, but still launched magma to attack Su Yu's ship, trying to knock down his ship. Seeing that Akainu didn't respond, Garp frowned, and then said to the others, everyone quickly prepares for defense. I have a bad feeling. Garp, isn't it necessary? It seems that Suyu is just about to fire a cannonball at us. Are you so fussy? Another Marine Lieutenant General said from the side. What do you know? If someone else's pirate group sticks out a cannon, I won't pay attention at all, but at this time the super-dimensional pirate group must take all precautions. Garp angrily rebuked. Although Garp is also Marine Lieutenant General, but in terms of majesty, he is far superior to the young Marine Lieutenant General just now. The Marine 12 Lieutenant General heard the words and stopped talking. That's right, whether it's or not, just follow what Garp said, be on guard. The crane on the side also reminded. Well, after all, you are veterans of the old age, so let's stop your opinion. Kizaru muttered. Although he was unwilling, there was no way. If you don't listen, you will probably suffer a lot. On the other side, Aokiji was silent for a while, and just like Kizaru, heeded Garp's advice. At the same time, the gun barrel on Suyu seemed to begin to condense an energy ball. The energy ball grew bigger and bigger, and finally slammed out. Strictly speaking, what the barrel shoots out is not a shell, but a beam of light. Coming. Garp suddenly yelled. Gang Bone Kong, the 2-3 old stars who are alive, the seriously injured Sengoku, Garp, 2 Admiral, and so on, as well as some others who will use armament hockey. Almost at the same time, armament hockey played outside. Boom. Accompanied by armament hockey's collision with the beam of light, the entire ground shook in direct distance. Damn. What is this? One of the Marine soldiers couldn't help but curse directly. What kind of ghost weapon is this? It looks like a cannonball-like turret, but what it shoots out is not a cannonball, but a beam of light. Damn it, you deserve to be the pirate giant of the old age, even the weapons we use are something we have never seen before. Probably there was a stalemate for dozens of seconds, and something beyond all of them had expected, because they did not stop the beam of light attack, but temporarily blocked it. Mr. Garp, it's not good, we are only temporarily blocking the attack, but we haven't stopped it. As long as we retract, the beam will still fall here. Kizaru said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yeah, like this kind of attack, I still have a hunch that if it falls on the ground, I'm afraid this island will not be able to withstand it. Aokiji said softly. Damn it, why does that ship have such a terrible offensive power? This power can already rival the super battleship of Pluto, the 3 ancient weapons. An old man from one of the 3 old stars said. Could it be that they obtained the drawing of Pluto, and transformed it? The old man, one of the other 3 old stars, also asked. After listening to their discussion, Garp frowned. It can't be counteracted. Everyone, change the trajectory of this attack. The crowd nodded and agreed with Garp's approach. In the end, with great effort, they successfully changed the trajectory of the beam and landed on the other side of naval headquarters. When the light beam hit the ground, it immediately caused a huge explosion, and the entire island seemed to be made of foam. At this moment, it was faltering. Boom, boom. The ground cracked huge cracks, and the sea on one side formed a huge wave, which was swallowed directly by the beating, and the island on the other side sank directly to the bottom of the sea within a short while. Moreover, the cracks continued to crack and collapse towards the other face of the island. However, they were lucky, the crack stopped, and the vibration stopped. The thick smoke and dust directly enveloped Malin Bando. How is it? On Suyu's boat, Senju Hashirama asked Suyu. Yes, I didn't expect to have such power. This is Aizen's major transformation. Waiting for you to come back one day, we will drive a new warship to meet you. Senju Hashirama explained. Hey, hearing this, Suyu felt a little relieved in his heart. The current feeling is the feeling of returning to the big family. About half an hour later, on the other side of the battlefield, when everything stabilized, the Marines began to clean the battlefield. Hey, sitting on the rock, Sengoku looked a little haggard. He stared at the endless sea and sighed heavily. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be the result today. We Marine defeated it, Sengoku said in a deep voice. Don't worry too much, after all, no one thought that all members of the Super Dimension Pirates would be there. Compared with this, you should go to 697 for treatment now, Sengoku. Crane suggested from the side. Sengoku shook his head, my body can still support it. This time, the Marine side has already suffered a shock. Don't blame yourself, it's none of your business. Today's result is something that Marine and the entire world government don't want to see. Gengukong walked over and said. At the same time, at this moment, a voice yelled. It's not good, the Red Hair Pirates ship of one of the 4 emperors is approaching our island. At this speed, it takes less than 5 minutes to land. With the falling of this voice, all Marines were desperate at this moment. But, yes, anyone can be desperate, and it's not easy for the vicious pirate to leave just now after experiencing life and death. They also survived as they wished, and now there is another vicious pirate. Faced with this, who can not despair? Chapter 226. Red Hair. Standing not far away, Garp, who was watching the battlefield, heard these 2 words, and his anger slowly rose. Yes, his grandson has always wanted to be a Marine, but he was brainwashed by Shanks and became a pirate. How could Garp not be angry in such a situation? It's the redhead who used Luffy's guide as a pirate. Garp cursed and walked towards the shore. However, at this moment, Sengoku on the rock spoke. Garp, what are you going to do? Of course it is to meet the enemy. Garp said lightly. We Marine can't move anymore. If we take the initiative to provoke it, instead of being destroyed by the super dimension and the Whitebeard pirates, we will be destroyed by our own stupid actions. Sengoku said slowly. Sengoku still knows the character of Shanks quite well. Generally speaking, this man will not take action unless there are special circumstances. However, if he doesn't make a move and Marine takes the initiative, then they will definitely do it. Sengoku is right, let's see what they are going to do. The steel frame on the side also said. After a few seconds of silence, Garp said, whatever you do. After that, he turned around, walked to another ruined stone and sat down. Redhead Shanks on board. Shanks glanced at the naval headquarters, which had become ruins not far ahead, and frowned slightly. Unfortunately, we are still late. Suyu and Whitebeard have both left naval headquarters. Shanks muttered, with a disappointed expression on his face. The former naval headquarters has become a ruin, and even the island seems to have collapsed. It is conceivable that a very fierce battle took place here. Ben Beckman added. Oh, boss, it's really a pity that we came late. We rushed over for such a huge battle and saw a loneliness. One of the crew members sighed heavily. It's a pity, but there is no way. However, as long as Ace is okay, if something happens to Ace, Luffy will definitely be uncomfortable. Shanks said with a smile on his face. That's right, but we haven't seen Luffy for a long time. I have a hunch that we will meet Luffy soon, and his next voyage should be coming to New World soon. Shanks's mouth raised slightly. Over there, where are we going next? Let's go back. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Good luck. Soon, when it was very close to the naval headquarters, Red Hair pirates began to turn around and slowly left. When Marine saw this scene, his mood was tense, and then he relaxed. Continue to clean up the battlefield, but this time, their losses are very great. Even if Sengoku knew such a result in advance, he might put Ace back. After all, the price paid today was too heavy. In this battle, Marine, one of the 3 old stars died, Akainu broke an arm, Sengoku, Aokiji suffered a certain degree of injury, and so on. The only lucky person is Kizaru. That guy didn't suffer any injuries. However, there is a saying that Kizaru is definitely the smartest in this battle. In the case of the pirates, Suyu still had no losses. In the case of Whitebeard, some of the cannon fodder from the franchise was also killed. For the home team, there was not much casualty. However, the fellow Blackbeard was killed by Whitebeard, and the Blackbeard pirates were also disbanded at that moment. When Suyu and Whitebeard were away from the naval headquarters for a certain distance, they began to hold a banquet. This time the banquet was a bit huge, and most of the pirates under the Whitebeard group came. However, for Suyu, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the food and wine are all made by them, and he and his crew are completely eating and drinking. Suyu, what is the name of your ship? Was it also built by the city of Seven Waters? Marco suddenly asked aloud, who was drinking heavily. Yes, because at the moment of escaping, Marco and the others saw Suyu's ship directly blow up half of the island with one shot. Moreover, if there is no Marine to arrive, I am afraid that Malin Vander will directly sink to the bottom of the sea. What is your name? At this point, it really stumped Suyu, because he hadn't really named this ship yet. Quote. Diaresis hey, Aizen, what is our ship's name? Suyu asked Aizen on the other side. Aizen shook his head when he heard the words, nothing. Hey, what kind of pirate group are you? Super Dimension Pirate Group? Yeah, it's too random. Our father's ship has a famous name. What's your name? Suyu asked. Moby DK, everyone replied. Cut, it's ugly. Suyu waved his hand, looking disgusted. It's also because Suyu said, otherwise these guys might really want to do it, but Suyu said they didn't dare, because they didn't hit Suyu at all, only Suyu hit them. You guy, can't you say something nice? Whitebeard, who was sitting opposite Suyu, couldn't help Wang Nuo Zhao to stop and say. What, do you want me to lie without my conscience? Edward, Suyu immediately retorted. Gum la la la. Hearing this, Whitebeard burst out laughing. By the way, you haven't said whether your ship was built by the city of Seven Waters. Marco continued to ask. Of course not. My boat has a character far beyond the capital of the Seven Waters. The corner of Suyu's mouth raised slightly. Far beyond the capital of Seven Waters. When everyone heard it, they cast an enviable look. Chapter 227. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Compared with Pluto, the ship of yours, who was better? Whitebeard, who was sitting on the opposite side of Suyu, asked aloud. As for the 3 ancient weapons, as a pirate giant in the old age, how could he not understand? Pluto, the rumored super battleship. Marco looked at his father, and then quickly fixed his gaze on Suyu, looking forward to his answer. After hearing the topic of interest, other people undoubtedly stopped their movements and cast their eyes on Suyu. Suyu was silent for a while, then smiled and said, I have never seen Pluto, the king of Pluto. You ask me how I know, but if I feel it is almost the same, he can destroy an island with one shot, and mine boats are fine too. Good. So awesome. It's so surprising. I didn't expect anyone other than the city of Seven Waters to build such a terrifying ship. Yeah, such a powerful ship. I am dissatisfied with you, saying that this is the first time I have seen it when I grow up to this age. Me too. Whitebeard on the side smiled 700, and was dissatisfied with them and said that it was the first time he had seen him. Sue you, or borrow someone, I think my Moby DK should also be remodeled. Whitebeard teased. Hearing that, Sue Yu smiled slightly, waved his hand and said, it's useless to ask me about it, you have to ask them to be willing. Goo la 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 la. Whitebeard laughed, then changed the subject and said, you should give your ship a name. The ship needs a name. Yeah, Sue Yu, your ship has such a powerful weapon, you can't let others Super Dimension pirate ship. Sue Yu's ship. Or something like that. Marco added, Dao. If you really call it that way, it would be a bit of a sense of contradiction, ha 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 ha. Joe said to the back, laughing out loud. Sue Yu was silent for a few seconds. Indeed, the ship should also have his own name. However, thinking about the name, Sue Yu was a little off, and suddenly at this moment, an idea flashed through his mind. Well, I have already figured out what is the name of my ship. What is it called? Everyone turned their eyes to Sue Yu again. Shinigami. The Shinigami. Sue Yu can be considered casually, he just thinks that this ship was transformed by Aizen, and Aizen is from Shinigami's world, so this can be regarded as Sue Yu's commemoration of the world where Aizen is. Right. Shinigami. Not as good as our Moby DK. Marco said, patted his legs and laughed. Believe it or not, I threw it into the sea. Just kidding. Marco immediately admitted. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ha 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 ha. On the boat, there was continuous laughter. Now Sue Yu's relationship with them has become more harmonious. A few hours later, the Holy Land Mary Geois. As soon as the two original 5 elders who were alive returned to the Holy Land Mary Geois, they were summoned by Yim directly. Still on the familiar throne, Im's icy gaze watched, only from the original 5 to 3, and now only the last 2 are left. Meeting Lord Yim. Master Yim summoned us this time, is it to know the situation of the top war? As soon as the old man's voice fell, Yim shook his head. I see, the Super Dimension pirate group that has existed decades ago is back, right? And, if I didn't guess wrong, this time, Marine was defeated. After Yim's voice fell, the expressions of the 2 old men became stiff in the game. I apologize, Lord Yim, we really didn't expect it. After so many years, they still have Captain Sue Yu in their hearts. Yeah, it was our carelessness. If it weren't for the return of their crew, in this battle, we Marine would definitely have defeated Whitebeard and Sue Yu. Listening to the words of the 2 of them, Yim Weiwei looked a little impatient and said, there are not so many ifs. If you lose, you will lose. If you win, you will win. Understood, Lord Yim, you have to hurry up on the matter of the world conscription. Besides, the pirate matter, put it aside, you need to adjust it. Yim said calmly. Yes, get out. A few hours later, on an island. After a huge ship docked, the Revolutionary Army cadre, Kurla got off the ship. After a while, in a certain office, Kurla opened the door, and sitting in front of the chair was the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Dragon. Yes, this man is Garp's son, Luffy's father. In this sea, the Revolutionary Army is another big force that removes the world government, the Blade of the World, and the pirates. And they also have a very clear purpose, which is to overthrow the world government, change the world and erase the rules that don't need people. Build harmony, freedom, equality, and a world full of dreams. This time I am so anxious to call me back, is something happened? Kurla asked. A big event happened in the world government today, do you know it? Long retorted. You mean, the execution of Fire Fist Ace, the captain of Whitebeard? Yes, so you know. Kurla nodded, and then continued. Yes, on that island, the process was broadcast live. It is said that the Fire Fist Ace is Roger's son. However, after a battleship fell from the sky, the live broadcast was interrupted. I don't know what happened afterwards, but I vaguely feel that the owner of that battleship has an untold secret. For example, Long asked curiously. For example, why did that battleship shut down to broadcast live to the whole world? You know, Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors, did not stop the live broadcast. This battleship must be carrying unexpected people. Kirla said slowly. Chapter 228. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Hearing that, the dragon was silent for a few seconds, and then slowly said, according to your analysis, it is indeed the case. There is no doubt that the virtue of the world government, there is no doubt that the appearance of the ship has caused him extreme such a big threat. What was the result? Kurla shook her head, and then replied, I don't know. Since the live broadcast was interrupted, there will be no more news. It is estimated that the results will appear in the newspaper tomorrow. After a pause, Kurla seemed to think of something, and then continued. However, even the results of the newspaper may not be true. After all, you and I understand it. Long nodded in agreement, and then stopped discussing the topic. By the way, I am looking for you this time because I need you to go to New World, an island called Konoha. Konoha. Kurla was slightly surprised. Well, yes, I think you must have heard of this island. Long asked. Kurla nodded. It is said that this island is the safest island in the world. There is no war in it, and everyone is in harmony. I also heard that that island is the only island that celestial dragons dare not go to. Yes, it is. Long nodded, and then continued. However, if the world government is not overthrown, this peace is only temporary. Therefore, this time the task is to go to Konoha Island and meet their owner. Kurla nodded. Of course, he naturally knew the difficulty of this task. After all, What do you think Konoha Island uses to maintain peace is naturally strength. He is not like a member of the world government, but has a background and strength is secondary. Who will go with me? You are the only one, the current people are all performing tasks. Long said lightly. Myself. Yes, but don't worry, I have found out the news. The owner of Konoha Island is a very gentle person. Long explained. Okay, then I should go to New World now. Kurla smiled slightly, then turned and left. Su Yu sighed. Since the end of the war at the top, a huge banquet has been held to celebrate the victory, so that the banquet lasted directly from the afternoon to the early hours of the next day. Then in the morning, Su Yu bid farewell to Whitebeard and the others. After all, the road was different and he returned to his site. And Su Yu was naturally going back to the island named Konoha. Okay, everything is resolved, Su Yu, now you should tell us what happened back then. Lem and his party walked over, holding a glass of drink in their hands, and handed them to Su Yu on the rocking chair. After Su Yu took the drink, he took a big sip, then straightened up, and said with a serious look, "Speak up, you may not believe it. It may have been decades in your eyes, but in my eyes it has passed. Less than a year. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As soon as Su Yu's words fell, Aizen, who had no interest in other things, cast his eyes. What do you mean? Dinasa asked. Yes, what has passed in our eyes for decades, but in your eyes has only been less than a year. Lem didn't even want to understand what was going on. Okay, just say it quickly, don't catch our appetite, Su Yu. Wu Luki murmured. It sounds like an incredible look. Ram said softly, of course, she was naturally very interested. Well, strictly speaking, I did not disappear, but was sent to the future by a woman. Strictly speaking, I passed through. That's why I said, in your eyes, decades have passed, and in my eyes, it is less than a year from being transmitted to the future by that guy. Su Yu said slowly. Who is that guy? Yeah, you actually have this ability. Could it be that it was also summoned from other worlds? Su Yu smiled faintly and shook his head. No, the identity of that guy is also quite mysterious. It seems to have traveled from 800 years ago to the future. Find flowers. 800 years ago. Everyone looked at Su Yu with a little surprise. Su Yu nodded. Yes, she is a time fruit ability person, with the ability to travel through the future, and can also send people to the future, but can't go back to the past. Listening to what Su Yu said, everyone understood what happened almost instantly. It turned out to be like this. Yeah, you disappeared without a word at the time, making us all over the world looking for you. Who is that guy? Damn it too much, he did such a thing. However, why didn't you come to the future to find us for the first time? Kong Na Shuling's eyes stared at Su Yu. ... 00. Su Yu stretched out her finger, flicked her forehead, and then whispered, you think it's simple. I don't know how many years have passed since I was in front of me. I'm asking for your news everywhere. Thank you. Lem squinted, smiled, and then stroked Su Yu's head, just like when Su Yu stroked her head. Su Yu, the newspaper is here, everyone. Wong also yelled on the second floor of the ship, then grabbed a stack of newspapers and jumped off the wanted order. Give. There's more here, who wants to see it? After distributing the stack of newspapers in his hand, Wong also looked at his wanted reward. Su Yu found his wanted warrant, but he didn't know it, but he was taken aback by the look. Yes, from the original more than 2 billion, this time it was directly increased to 5 billion. Tisk tusk. This group of world government, it is really different if they have money, it is 5 billion directly. Chapter 229. Indeed, after this battle with Marine, the bounty increase is really exaggerated. After all, in the past, Su Yu attacked the Holy Land Mary Geois twice in a row, but did not increase so fast. This time, it directly increased by more than 2 billion, but this is enough to prove that the world government clearly feels how threatening Su Yu is to them. Soon, Su Yu continued to flip down. In the upper right corner of the newspaper, there was a photo of war on top, and the headline was like this. The brand new Super Dimension Pirates helped Whitebeard rescue Ace. Single quote. Then below, undoubtedly, all the lists of the Super Dimension Pirate Group appeared, and even the amount of reward. Aizen is 4.9 billion, Hashirama 3.5 billion, Madara 3.5 billion, Denisha 2.1 billion, Tornado 2.3 billion, Jiraiya 1.8 billion, 56.7 1.8 billion, Wang Yi 1.6 billion, Ram 600 million, Kana 600 million. Except for Su Yu, there is no doubt that Kong Na has the highest increase, because an energy ball fired on top of the war directly increased by 300 million. In this way, although there are not many members of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, the total bounty is more than 20 billion, EH. It should be regarded as sweeping all the current pirate groups. Su Yu muttered softly. The current 4 Emperors pirate group has a higher bounty for the 4 Emperors, and the others are basically a lot less. On the Su Yu side, there is more than Su Yu alone, all 4 are considered outrageously high. Su Yu, how much is your bounty? Wu Luki came over at this time and asked curiously. 5 billion, Su Yu said lightly. As soon as these words came out, Wu Luki was a little dumbfounded, and swallowed hard. Are the world government guys eccentric? I only had 1.8 billion after decades. I originally remembered that Su Yu offered a bounty of 2 billion. As a result, after a fight, it became the best one on our boat. There are 1.8 billion, you have to laugh secretly. After all, since Su Yu disappeared, we have basically lived a stable life. Some people have not 1.8 billion in their lives. Jiraiya explained to the side. No way, who called Su Yu our captain? Everyone knows that in general, the captain's bounty is the highest. Dinasa drank a hot drink and smiled slightly. Regarding the change in Dinasa's character, Su Yu basically noticed that she used to be very cold, but now her character is somewhat similar to Robin in the original book. Of course, Dinasa was not the only one who changed her personality, but there were many others. Next, how do we plan? Senju Hashirama sitting on the sofa asked. Su Yu was silent for a few seconds after hearing this, then shook his head. Seriously, he didn't know what to plan next. I haven't even planned yet. Let's go home first, and take it easy without worrying. Senju Hashirama smiled and said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Home. Yeah, since you disappeared for many years, we and Hashirama became the owners of an island named Konoha. Uchiha Madara said lightly. Konoha is known as the safest island in the world. Lem explained carefully to the side. Where are there so many delicious foods? Kong Na said with a milky voice as she gestured. Various bathhouses. Jiraiya cast a strange look at Su Yu, as if implying something. Speaking of this, Su Yu remembered that when Jiraiya had just been summoned, he didn't expect to be taken to the bathhouse to peep at him. Su Yu gave him a white look, then whispered, be sure to take me to experience the bathhouse, which is known as the safest island in the world. How to enjoy? Jiraiya blinked. Well, let's stay on that island for a while. The super-dimensional pirate group is like a demon descending, whether it is the front part or the back part of the Grand Line, it is undoubtedly boiling. A certain pirate group. Captain, it's amazing, a brand new pirate group has appeared in New World. Yes, and the bounty directly surpasses a certain 4 emperors. Another man added. The captain, who was eating and drinking, frowned slightly. What silly thing are you talking about? How can the brand new pirate group surpass the bounty of the Sea Emperor? Really, boss, don't believe me. With that said, his members directly handed him the wanted order for reward. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion. Counting to the back, his eyes widened directly, an unbelievable look. 5,555, 5 billion. Well, who is this guy called Su Yu? What the hell is this super dimension pirate group? I have heard of it for the first time, but the bounty is so high. This is totally strange. Wrong. Captain, his wanted order can be misprinted, but if you look at this newspaper, there is a bounty for his accomplices. When the captain took the newspaper and glanced at it, he was dumbfounded. How is this possible? The leader of the World Blade, Aizen, is also a member of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. What kind of pirate group this is, although there are few people in Shinobi, but the bounty is terribly high. At the same time, the Chambord Islands. On the Hawkins Pirates, one of the supernovae. After they all saw Su Yu's name, and the portrait, the people in the entire boat were stunned. This guy's bounty is higher than the bounty of several 4 emperors. One of the crew members forcibly stabilized his emotions. What the hell is this guy? It's so terrible. When he came to Chambord Islands at 3.6, we still wanted to attack him, tusk. Looking back now, it's really creepy. Yes, that time was really thanks to Captain Hawkins' fortune-telling, otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hawkins watched Su Yu's reward amount from the sidelines, his face solidified slightly. Yes, he did think that Su Yu would be a very powerful person, but he never expected that he would be such a terrible guy. Chapter 230. You know, the bounty of 4 emperors is only 5 billion from Whitebeard. The other 3 are only more than 4 billion yuan, and Su Yu's first time on board the wanted order is directly 5 billion yuan, anyone will feel incredible. This guy named Su Yu, what on earth is it? He actually offered a reward of 5 billion for the first time he boarded the wanted order. In Hawkins' mind, he was confused, and he couldn't figure it out. However, it would be weird if he figured it out. After all, there are very few people who know Su Yu in this sea. It should have helped Whitebeard rescue Ace Firefist at Naval Headquarters. Beside Hawkins, a burly man spoke. How do you know? Hawkins looked at him suspiciously. Hey, the burly man raised the newspaper in his hand and continued. What the newspaper said, I heard that the fight was so intense that the island almost sank. Hawkins was silent for a few seconds, and then retorted. Even Su Yu and the others helped Whitebeard rescue Ace, but it would be too ridiculous that they would directly offer a reward of 125 billion for a battle. I think so too. But apart from this, there is absolutely no other news about Su Yu in this ocean. So, at the top of the war, something terrible must have happened. Listening to the analysis of his crew, Hawkins also felt that it made sense. The top war must have happened to a secret that no one but the people at the scene knew. At the same time, on the other side, the Bonnie Pirates, which is also one of the supernovae. Bonnie's eyes widened, her hand holding the wanted order, trembled slightly. Captain Bonnie, this guy is the guy who attacked celestial dragons before. His Super Dimension Pirate Group. This is the first time this pirate group has heard it, but the bounty is heaven-defying. The lowest is 600 million. Who are these guys? My captain doesn't have 600 million, and their lowest is 600 million. Listening to this, Bonnie's face with Su Yu's wanted order in her hand is even worse. Good fellow, if you want to praise it, you can compare it with me. I don't know, I thought you were the undercover agent of the Super Dimension Pirates. The one with the highest bounty is basically higher than the captain of the Four Emperors Pirate Group. Don't talk about the highest one, even the second one is basically higher than the Four Emperors Pirate Group. No wonder, no wonder, no wonder he dared to fight celestial dragons directly. If I had a strength of 5 billion, let alone celestial dragons, I would go up to the Holy Land Mary Geois and step on both feet. Don't do it, dream less, our captain is only offering a bounty of 100 million, and the minimum of 600 million for the super-dimensional pirate group. Upon hearing this, Bonnie was so angry that the blue veins on her forehead erected, she directly grabbed Suyu's wanted order with one hand, and kicked the man away. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A-hole, just boast, I have been suggesting that I mean more than 100 million. Bonnie yelled. Sorry, we were wrong. Call. Bonnie sighed, it's hard to bring the crew this time. However, there is a saying, I didn't expect that guy would be such a powerful man. Bonnie said lightly. Yeah, and, as you can see, the world government is terrified of them. It doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with us. Bonnie said lightly. A certain sea area. Hey, no wonder Konoha Island is called the safest island. It turns out that most of the members of the Super Dimension Pirate Group are stationed on the inner island. Kurla said lightly while looking at the newspaper in his hand. This time, she went to Konoha Island alone in New World. Although the owner of the island was a very gentle person, she was still uneasy. I hope this time I can successfully complete the task, as long as the negotiation is completed, it will be very beneficial to our revolutionary army. New World, Cake Island. Kaido and his party have successfully arrived. When he found Charlotte Linlin was eating a delicious cake. Old lady, don't eat any more, don't waste time. Kaido said angrily. As soon as these words fell, the cadres belonging to the BIGMOM pirate group, the three general stars stopped in front of Kaido. Smelly boy, do you want to fight? Kaido said stiffly. Just when the atmosphere was a little weird, Charlotte Linlin said, you all get out. Yes, mother. Did you read today's newspaper? Charlotte Linlin asked Kaido. Where do I have time? You guys take out today's newspapers and show them to Kaido. Yes, mother. After a short while, the newspaper was handed to Kaido's hand. Kaido glanced carefully, then squeezed the newspaper in a ball and threw it on the ground angrily. It's annoying to see the word Suyu. That guy 700 has already offered a bounty of up to 5 billion. It's higher than you, me, and red hair. Charlotte Linlin sneered. So what? Don't say that, Kaido, you have suffered from them more than once. Tell me, how many times have you almost been killed by him, if it wasn't for your luck? Charlotte Linlin leaked something. A weird smile. Kaido's face was a little stiff when he heard this. So, do you want to fight? Old woman, this is my place, Kaido. In terms of momentum, Charlotte Linlin certainly can't fall behind. Seeing that the two were about to fight, Charlotte Linlin went on to say, don't forget, in the Valley of the Gods, if it weren't for me, do you think you could escape? Face Roger, Suyu, and Marine. Quote. Kaido's face was unusually ugly, but he still endured it, and then said solemnly, do you want to join forces with me? Chapter 231. After listening to Kaido's words, Charlotte Linlin grinned, and only spoke a moment later. It's not impossible to join forces, but you have to be a little sincere, Kaido. Kaido's face became more and more ugly. Seriously, if Suyu hadn't appeared, even if the other four emperors besieged him, he wouldn't come back here to discuss such things with Charlotte Linlin. Of course, Suyu was not before, he thought the world was meaningless, Suyu appeared, he just wanted to kill Suyu. Don't forget, old lady, you and me are good for you to join forces, and, taking a step back, you and I were both Locke's crew members. It is only a matter of time before he comes to trouble you. Kaido reminded. One sentence. Charlotte Linlin did not show weakness, and said coldly, do you think I would be afraid of him? Speaking of four emperors, from the old age, I am afraid that only Charlotte Linlin has not played against Suyu. Kaido gritted his teeth angrily when he heard the words. Then what do you mean? Let me come all the way, do you want to fight? Old lady. I will bear you for a long time. After Charlotte Linlin said, he took off the double-horned hat Napoleon directly on top of his head. The original hat was turned into a long sword. Yes, this ability is exactly Charlotte Linlin's Devil Fruit, the Soul Fruit ability. Soul Fruit, Paramesha, capable people can deal with human souls at will. Let the soul be anthropomorphized in various things, but cannot be put into human corpses and people other than yourself. The anthropomorphized objects are called homits. Seeing Charlotte Linlin like this, Kaido's temper came up instantly, holding the mace hanging from his waist directly. Go to hell, old woman. Kaido yelled angrily, and hit Charlotte Linlin with a mace in one hand. Bang! When the two weapons collided, a powerful airflow was directly produced. The surrounding buildings were directly bounced off. At this moment, the scene seemed to become a little chaotic. Mom! The third star yelled from the side, and just wanted to help, when suddenly at this moment, Charlotte Linlin spoke directly. You don't have to intervene, just let me deal with it. Of course, Charlotte Linlin is naturally not a fool. Kaido's strength, even if the three of them play together, it may not be able to take advantage of it. Even if one is wrong, it is very likely that Kaido will be seriously injured. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A few days later. Holy Land Mary Geois. Garp, Sengoku, the two of you happen to be here. Do you know what happened in New World? Gangukong asked aloud. Are you referring to Kaido and Charlotte Linlin? Yes, it is. Gangukong nodded, and then continued. According to the news I got, I heard that Charlotte Linlin and Kaido had been playing for 2 days and 2 nights, and there was still no winner or loser. However, they seem to have reached an agreement. The war has ended. You mean, afraid that they will deal with our world government next? Sengoku asked. After all, if it is, their marine will undoubtedly be in trouble, and they have not been able to get over the matter of war. 4 emperors will join forces to attack the world government. I am afraid that things are really not good. Yes, my guess is like this. You know, we just finished the battle, and our anger has not yet eased, and the other 4 emperors joined forces again. If this continues, our world government will not be able to bear it. Gangu Kongshin he sighed deeply. Sengoku and Garp hesitated for a few seconds, and both nodded in agreement. If it's as you guessed it is indeed a bad thing. Sengoku calmly said. But, even so, what can we do? In the current situation, you don't know that the balance of power has been completely tilted. Garp said softly. However, this is indeed the case. The leader of World Blade returns to the Super Dimension Pirate Group, and the power of the pirates has been greatly improved. They couldn't control the 4 emperors, so Kaido and Charlotte Linlin practiced their hands again. In the current situation, it can be said that the Revolutionary Army wants to do the world government, the World Blade wants to do the world government, and the pirates want to do the world government. The current world government has completely become a disadvantaged group. Call. Gangu Kong sighed heavily, and then asked, how is the world drafting? Quote. Diaresis it's going well. Hey, there is finally something that is more satisfactory. Steel, this one comes out, I have one more thing. At this moment, Garp said suddenly. You said. Gangbone Kong still made a sound as usual. I'm not young anymore, I think it's time to retire. Garp said calmly. Gang Gukong's expression stiffened as soon as he said this, and he stared at Garp blankly. Although Garp is old, his strength has almost no impact. To retire now is completely tantamount to worsening the world government, which is not so good. Garp. Sengoku also looked at Garp. I know what you guys are trying to say, the old man is overwhelmed. Garp said lightly. Yes, but before you retire, there is another task. You bring out a group of powerful marines to marine. Garp froze for a moment, and finally nodded. Jows. At the same time, New World, Konoha Island. When landing on the island, Senju Hashirama told Suyu that on this island, they have their own vaults, and these vaults are for them to use when Suyu will appear in the sea in the future. This also means that Suyu has something to exchange for summoning value to summon new characters. Hashirama, take me to our vault quickly. I can't wait. Senju Hashirama was startled slightly. We just came back. Are we going to see? Suyu shook his head. Of course not. Chapter 232. If you want to move those things to the boat, you can ask other people to do it. There is no need to do it yourself. After all, those are people who have believed. Senju Hashirama thought it was Suyu who wanted to move the money in the vault to the ship, so he reminded him, after all, Suyu is also the captain of a New World pirate group. If all the little things have to be done in person, then it is really a bit unreasonable. It's not moving to the ship, I just want to see it. Suyu said lightly. Senju Hashirama looked at Suyu curiously, but didn't say much. After all, this is not a big deal. All right, then you come with me. Soon after, Senju Hashirama took Suyu into a basement and opened it. As expected, all kinds of gold and silver treasures were hidden inside. Okay, good boy, doing so much. Suyu said slightly in shock. Senju Hashirama smiled slightly, and then said modestly, don't forget, my island is known as the safest island in the world. Many other nobles have spent a lot of money to migrate from other islands to here. However, when they came here, there was no aristocracy at 700, everyone was the same. You deserve to be a village chief. This time, you have done more comprehensively than when you used to be the village chief in Konoha. Suyu praised. Senju Hashirama smiled slyly, and then explained, it's not all my credit, Madara also gave a lot of credit. Come on, if Madara is here, are you two going to talk to each other in business? Suyu was speechless. Ha 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 ha. Senju Hashirama laughed, then threw the key in his hand to Suyu, and said, I have given you the key. Take your time, I will take a bath first. Suyu nodded, and after a few casual glances, he started his exchange plan. Exchange. Ding dong, congratulations on the successful exchange of host, and got 100 summon value. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and gaining 33 summoning points. Ding dong, congratulations on the successful exchange of host, and got 100 summon value. Ding dong, congratulations on the successful exchange of host, and got 50 summon value. After busying for about 10 minutes, Suyu finally completed the required summon value of 250,000. Next, he didn't waste time, so he started to summon directly. Start calling. Ding dong, calling. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Summon success. Congratulations to host for getting the butterfly Channa from the world of Demon Slayer. As usual, when the sound of the system fell, a bunch of light particles appeared, and then these light particles gathered together and finally slowly transformed into a human form. Then from the virtual body, the blink of an eye, it transforms into an entity. Demon Slayer's blade. Butterfly Channa. Su Yu was startled slightly. To tell the truth, he didn't know much about Ghost Slayer blade, but he had heard of it. Therefore, he is not familiar with this person named Butterfly Channa. After a while, she had pink-purple eyes, long black hair reaching her waist, and emerald-green butterfly hairpins with pink edges on both sides of her hair. Wearing a standard Ghost Squad uniform, with colorful butterfly patterns on the outside, the body is not too tall or too short. When Butterfly Channa's eyes met Su Yu's eyes, her heart was obviously moved. Subconsciously took a step back, obviously, she was too nervous. I was brought here by a mysterious thing. Butterfly Channa hurriedly explained. Su Yu just smiled, and then replied, don't be too nervous. Like you, I was brought here by that mysterious thing. Here it is. When you were about to come, didn't you have a voice in your mind to say anything to you? Su Yu asked. Have. This place is what the voice said. Sorry, I was nervous for a while, and my mind was a little blank. Butterfly Chanel explained. Su Yu doesn't care about this. After all, when he first crossed, it took a lot of geniuses before he came to his senses. It's okay, you sit here slowly. After Su Yu said, his virtual panel popped up. Host. Su Yu. Summon. Aizen 75%, Lame 70%, Hashirama 80%, Wuluki 70%, Jiraiya 70%, Tornado 70%, Wang Yi 65%, Denisha 65%, Kong Na 65%, Uchiha Madara 70%, Butterfly Channa 20%. Summoning character inheritance. Kido, Hogyoku 0500s Aizen Ghost Blood Rem Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Scroll, Eternal Mangekyo 861,000 Madara. Summoning value. 0,400,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Purple Fire, Max Thor 1036 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1999 2000 Observation Hockey, 1999 2000 Conquerors Hockey, 1258 2000. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members 11/12. When he saw the 400,000 summon value needed, he was slightly stunned. Good fellow, it was directly increased by 150,000. Originally, I was thinking about continuing the exchange, but Su Yu thought about it for a while and decided to slow down a bit. After about a few minutes, the Butterfly Channa Key took the initiative to speak out. Is it the only one who came here with you? Of course not. Besides me, there are many people who came here from other worlds. Most of them are from different worlds. Su Yu explained. I heard that mysterious voice say, there are no ghosts here. You can say so. While speaking, Su Yu had already walked out of the vault, and the Butterfly Channa had also followed in small steps. Chapter 233. Where are we going? Butterfly Chanahui walked side by side with Su Yu, and asked softly. For this new world, the Butterfly Channa Wei was very disturbed at this time, but because of 100% loyalty. She really trusted what Su Yu said. Familiar with the environment here, familiar with other people who came to this world from other worlds like you and me. Su Yu answered as he walked. Oh, Butterfly Chanahui lightly tapped this head. Shui Lingling's eyes looked at everything around him, but he was a little worried. This phenomenon is normal. After all, when Su Yu first came to this pirate world, it was almost the same. After walking out of the vault, Su Yu and the others came to the lively street market, where people came and went, and there was ups and downs in noise. However, everyone here has a smile on their faces. Do Su Yu need to come in for a drink? A good drink just arrived in the pub today. The owner of the shop shouted from the bar at the corner of the door. Su Yu and the others have returned to the island yesterday, and Senju Hashirama also published a newspaper here, indicating that Su Yu is the captain of the super-dimensional pirate group. Therefore, the people here are very enthusiastic about Su Yu and still enjoy very good privileges, and everything does not need money. Of course, this kind of enthusiasm is not to deal with Su Yu and the others, but sincere, because in their eyes, everyone in the Super Dimension Pirate Group is their benefactor. Without the Super Dimension Pirate Group, there would be no them. Other day, something is going on today. Su Yu waved his hand and responded. Okay, I will reserve a part for you. Thanks. Just a few steps away, the owner of a restaurant not far away happened to go out, and he hurriedly said when he saw Su Yu. Boss Su Yu, a chef with good cooking skills has just arrived in my restaurant, how about it? Are you interested in tasting? The boss smiled kindly. Next time, something is going on today. Su Yu smiled slightly. Okay, just a few steps away, this is the Butterfly Channa on the side said softly, you seem to be very popular, the people here are so enthusiastic. There are pirates, marines, and other people everywhere in this world, but only this island does not. Butterfly Chanel just wanted to say something, when Su Yu suddenly heard the voice of a phone bug. Billy Billy, Billy Billy. Su Yu stretched out his hand, took out a small box in his pocket, and then took out the phone worm. This phone worm has more minor injuries than other phone worms. After the call was connected, a voice came from the phone worm. Su Yu, I heard Hashirama say you went to the vault. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yes, Su Yu nodded. However, I have already come out, and now I am going to the bathhouse, have you already started? No, we all just arrived. That's right, where are all of you waiting a moment, the new members are here, I will introduce you to you. Su Yu said slowly. New member, Men's and women's. Are you strong? Is it little Lolita or Yuji? Long looks good, or is it not good? On the phone worm, other people's voices came. When the time comes, you will naturally know. Su Yu said, hanging up the phone worm. At the same time, Konoha Island, on the coast. Two small ships are slowly docking ashore. Yes, the two ships, one is Kurla from the Revolutionary Army, and the other is the Hawkeye Mahawk, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Their purpose is also very simple. Mahawk is here to find Su Yu to continue to compete against the top of the war without playing against the battle. Kurla is here to discuss cooperation. Kurla recognized the man in front of him at a glance, but she was very calm. If Mahawk didn't take the initiative, she would assume she hadn't seen it. Mahawk is not interested in Kurla at all, his target is Su Yu. Konoha Island is different from other islands. The entire island is surrounded by a high wooden wall. There are about 100 entrances. It is similar to Konoha village, and all have enchantments. If you don't follow the normal procedures if you want to go over the wall, you will basically be spotted immediately. Find flowers. Of course, whether it's Kurla or Mahawk, they don't want to get over the wall, after all, they both came with sincerity. The first procedure was naturally a bit troublesome, but the two of them were surprisingly honest and completely followed. On Su Yu's side, after a short while, he took the butterfly Channa to the bathhouse. The crew of the Super Dimension Pirates, except Aizen, and Uchiha Madara, everyone else was there. Welcome new members. Lem came over first and said enthusiastically. In her skill, other members naturally followed. 0. Welcome to join our big family. You, are so many of you from other worlds. Butterfly Channa looked at them in surprise, feeling a little weird. You guessed it, as you said, most of us here come from a different world. Ram explained. She's named Butterfly Chanahui, you can also briefly introduce yourself, and then. Lem, you take her to take a bath, and tell her anything about this world. Su Yu asked on the side. Screamed. As soon as the words fell, everyone consciously gave a brief introduction. The harmonious relationship between everyone and the smile on their faces calmed down the butterfly Channa who has always had a sense of anxiety. She can basically detect that everyone here can be trusted. Let's go, let's take a bath. Rem took the hand of Chanel Butterfly and walked towards the women's bathhouse. Okay, if you don't know anything, or if you want to know, you can ask us. Okay. Kana stared at the backs of the butterfly Chanel and Lem, frowning slightly, she seems to have taken Lem away. After hearing the words, Dinasa smiled slightly. Kana, what are you thinking about? Chapter 234. Without a eunuch, an eunuch cannot be an eunuch. Just as Su Yu looked at the back of Lem and the butterfly Channa, Senju Hashirama on the side spoke. Don't look, let's go relax too. Su Yu retracted his gaze, stretched his waist and nodded, then said lightly, let's go, I should relax too. This bathhouse is not opened by outsiders, so unless Senju Hashirama brings other people over to talk about things, there will be no outsiders under basic circumstances. At the same time, a certain office. Uchiha Madara is busy looking at the documents and some important things on the island. Billy. Hearing the ringing of the phone worm, Uchiha Madara did not cast his eyes, but relied on the feeling to directly connect to the phone worm. Speaking. Madara. Is Madara 12 adults? I'm. Two strangers came at the gate. One said that he wanted to discuss matters with you, and the other wanted to see Lord Su Yu. Moreover, the identities of the two of them were not ordinary. One of them was a cadre of the Revolutionary Army. The other is the most powerful swordsman in the world. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara was shocked, stopped what was in his hands, and finally looked at the phone worm. Revolutionary cadre. The world's most powerful swordsman. Yes, Lord Madara. All right, you can bring them here for me. Uchiha Madara said, and then hung up the phone worm. What is the Revolutionary Army cadre asking for me? Uchiha Madara was slightly stunned, then stood up and stretched. Forget it, go take a bath too, just to say to Su Yu. At the bathhouse. At this time, Su Yu, with a hot towel on his face, lay his head back halfway, closed his eyes and rested. He couldn't like this kind of life anymore. Since crossing into the future, I haven't relaxed well. This feeling is really comfortable. Su Yu closed his eyes and slowly said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. How about it, what do you plan to do with the person who sent you to the future? Senju Hashirama asked. It's probably already hung up. Su Yu said lightly, after all, in the original book, when Tianyushi was in the country of Haji, it was already clicked off. Of course, it is also possible that there is no death. After all, it is possible that the butterfly effect caused by the arrival of Su Yu has caused some people to change the future. Bye. It's really bad luck. Yeah, if you haven't died, this thing can't just be forgotten. If this is the case, there is no way. By the way, do you want to visit Aizen's base? That guy's base is much higher than Konoha Island. Senju Hashirama suddenly changed the subject and asked. Aizen's base. Su Yu was silent for a few seconds, then smiled. Forget it, it's boring. Really not going. After all, the guy Aizen has developed a very powerful force over the years, don't you want to check it out? Senju Hashirama continued. It's not that you don't know my interest. I can't afford to be interested in that kind of thing at all. Su Yu said in a hurry. Okay. Inside the bathhouse, it fell into silence again. After a while, a figure slowly walked over, and everyone subconsciously opened their eyes and took a glance. Madara, can't you say it? Senju Hashirama asked with a puzzled face. Under normal circumstances, Uchiha Madara is what Uchiha Madara says. This kind of thing rarely happens at present. It just happened to have something to do with you and Suyu, so I stopped by to take a bath. Uchiha Madara said lightly. Look for me and Suyu. Senju Hashirama was taken aback for a moment, and straightened up to look at Uchiha Madara. Suyu also heard that Uchiha Madara had something to do with him, so he sat up and looked at him. What's the matter? Suyu asked first. It is said that the world's most powerful swordsman is looking for you. As for what is unclear. In addition, the cadres of the Revolutionary Army seem to have something to do with us, so they come to discuss with you. Uchiha Madara said slowly. The world's most powerful swordsman. Mahawk. Suyu murmured. Undoubtedly, mentioning this title, Suyu already knew what he came from, and apart from learning swordsmanship, he really couldn't think of anything else. Why are the Revolutionary Army looking for us? I remember that we have never been in contact with them. Senju Hashirama was also puzzled. He suddenly visited and didn't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. Who knows, we won't know if we go to see it later. Uchiha Madara said, and then looked at Suyu. Of course, he was asking Suyu's meaning. Suyu was taken aback, and quickly said, don't look at me, these things have nothing to do with me, you can just handle them yourself. Although Suyu is the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, he is not the owner of this island. Strictly speaking, as the captain of Senju 703 Hashirama, he should also become the owner of this island. Senju Hashirama also mentioned this matter to Suyu when he first logged on to the island, but Suyu refused directly. Just kidding, the rights of the island owner are indeed high, but it's useless for Suyu. Once you become an island owner, you have almost no freedom. You need to deal with all kinds of things and listen to your opinions. Naruto in the original Naruto is the best example. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Suyu's face, Senju Hashirama laughed. Call. Uchiha Madara sighed helplessly. Okay, then. However, I am curious, why are you related to the world's most powerful swordsman? Senju Hashirama asked suspiciously. When I was at the top of the war, I had a discussion with him, but before the end of the fight, it is estimated that he came to me to learn. Chapter 235. Seeing Suyu's calm report, Senju Hashirama didn't take it too seriously. Then what do you plan to do? Finish this unfinished match with him. Senju Hashirama said slowly. Suyu lay down again, raised his head, closed his eyes, and then covered his face with a steaming towel, slowly. It depends on the situation. It's not his decision to fight or not, but maybe I don't want to. Okay, Senju Hashirama answered, and then stood up. When Uchiha Madara saw this, he cast his gaze. What are you doing? I'm already soaking up, I'll take care of the Revolutionary Army's affairs. Senju Hashirama smiled faintly. Uchiha Madara nodded, and then ignored it. Like Suyu, she raised her head and put a steaming towel on her face. Nonsense, if it is difficult, you can take a break, and he will naturally not be foolish to deal with these small things with Senju Hashirama. Suyu, do you want to go together? I'm in bubble, you go first. After a while, inside the office. Mahawk and Crawl have been waiting here for a long time. Master Hashirama, this woman is here to come to you and talk about cooperation. As for the man, he is here to see Master Suyu. The middle-aged man said softly. Of course, even if the middle-aged man didn't say anything, Senju Hashirama already knew their purpose of coming here. Senju Hashirama nodded. Okay, I see, you can go ahead and work on it first. Yes, Lord Hashirama. The middle-aged man nodded, then turned and left the office directly, while Senju Hashirama turned his eyes to the two of them with a smile on his face. It was because of this smile that she gave Kurla a very approachable, totally unintelligible feeling. Before the two of them could speak, Senju Hashirama took the lead to say, I have a rough idea of your intentions. You should be Mahawk. Mahawk nodded. For Suyu, you can just wait in the lobby for a while. He will probably come over after he takes a bath. Okay. Mahawk nodded, then turned to look away. In the office, only Senju Hashirama and Kurla are left. Senju Hashirama sat on the stool and said flatly, if I remember correctly, we haven't had any negotiations with your Revolutionary Army over the years. Kurla nodded, with a slight smile on his face. Yes, just as the Lord of the Island said. Go ahead, what purpose? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Presumably, even if I don't say it, I think the island owner should know what the world government is doing. Anyone who understands knows what the world government does. Our Revolutionary Army was born to overthrow the rule of the world government, but our strength alone is too weak, so we want to cooperate with you. Listening to Kurla's words, Senju Hashirama's face remained the same as before, without any fluctuations in his heart. Cooperation. Yes. Kurla nodded again. She couldn't mess up the task that Long gave her. At present, this island is known as the safest island in the world. Peace and freedom here are what many people dream of. On the outside, under the rule of the world government, the bright side is bright and beautiful, but on the other side, it is disgusting. Therefore, our leader very much hopes to cooperate with you to overthrow the world government together and make this world a fair world, so that everyone can have their dreams. As soon as Kurla's voice fell, the entire office became quiet. Kurla stared at Senju Hashirama expectantly. Sorry, I refuse. The simple 7 words are like a basin of cold water poured directly on her head. Why, Lord, can I listen to your reasons? Kurla asked with a slight disappointment in his heart. There is no reason. No matter what era, every world is the same, there will never be fairness, and wars cannot be avoided. If there is, it is unless there are no humans in this world. Senju Hashirama said lightly. Indeed, he has basically seen it through, so his current goal is also very simple, just take care of wherever he can. No. It's not like that. If we cooperate, we will have the ability to change the world. Kurla retorted. Senju Hashirama didn't care, and then said lightly, what I experienced is far beyond your imagination. Let alone this, I came to this island. I wish you a good time. After leaving a sentence, Senju Hashirama started to get busy with the things at hand, and Kurla was also fascinated when he saw it. Excuse me. After that, Kurla turned and left. Konoha Island, empty benches. Kurla called the phone worm. Sorry, let you down, the cooperation has not been negotiated. Kurla said in a deep voice. There was silence for a while, and a voice came. It's in my expectation. Give me some more time, I think we still have a chance. Don't mess around, those guys are not easy to mess with, there is no need to take this risk. Don't worry, I won't mess around. You just have to know it in your heart. That's it for now. Soon, Kurla hung up the phone worm. Of course, next he didn't plan to grind the hand Hashirama, Zhao's good but thought of another way. When she didn't resist the island, she already had some information. Yes, it was about the super-dimensional pirate group. In other words, if she sees Suyu and asks Suyu to agree, she can completely pass Senju Hashirama. After all, Suyu is their captain. As long as Suyu nods, there is no problem. The way to meet Suyu is also very simple, just follow Mihawk. Snee. In the bathhouse, Suyu directly sneezed by surprise. Immediately after, he sat up, knocked around and got up. Are you leaving? Wu Luki, who was not far away, asked. Well, just to deal with something. Chapter 236. Sure enough, the captain is not so easy to be a captain. Tenten has a lot of things to do. Wu Luki was a little bit happy in his heart, he didn't need to think that Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara were busy all day long, and he didn't need to make any plans like Suyu. Anyway, wherever you want to go, I will go wherever you go. Overall, he is now completely more confused than Suyu. Suyu gave him a blank look, and then teased. Why, there is nothing to do, do you feel muddled all day? Do you need me to find you a good job to enrich your time? Wu Luki heard this and said quickly, Captain, you have worked hard. Suyu smiled slightly, ignored him, got up and left. At the women's bathhouse, due to the addition of the butterfly Channa, the atmosphere in the first bath was a bit weird, but after everyone let go of the conversation, the relationship got closer. What they talked about was undoubtedly the interesting things in their world. The white mist of the bathhouse enveloped them, and some hot figures were looming in the white mist. Unexpectedly, your experience is exactly the same as mine, can we still return to the original world? Butterfly Channa asked 703. Everyone groped their chins and pondered for a few seconds, and then said lightly. Although we have been in this world for some years, we really don't know the question you asked. Tornado replied slowly. Yeah, that's right, but we don't know the correct answer, maybe Suyu can know it. Ram added. Actually, this world is also very good. The world I used to be is simply terrible. Dinasa said slowly. Yeah, didn't you just say that the world you were in is terrible, why do you want to go back? Lem looked puzzled. I worry. Family. Butterfly Chanel heard the words and nodded. Don't be discouraged, there is still a great possibility that your relatives will also come here. After all, Ram and Lem are in the same world. On their male side, there are already 3 people from the same world. The village. Dinasa said softly. Undoubtedly, these words directly made Channa Wei Butterfly feel much better. Konoha Island, a certain hall. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Suyu, let's continue to complete our unfinished match in Naval Headquarters. Seeing Suyu walking in, Mihawk, who was sitting in the lobby waiting, stood up. Yes, for this duel that has not yet been determined, he values it very much. Suyu was taken aback for a moment, then glanced at him, and said lightly, I refuse. Quote question mark quote. Mihawk was stunned. To tell the truth, he hadn't thought that Suyu would even think about it, so he refused. After all, swordsmanship is not something that can be encountered casually. In his eyes, Suyu should also take this opportunity well. But, the reality is that Suyu directly refused without even thinking about it. Why? Where are there so many why? When I want to fight, I'll go find you, I'm not a big idler like you, my time is very tight. Suyu casually pulled a panic, and said out. For today's duel, I have been preparing for a long time. Mihawk said, taking out another sword hanging from his waist, and then continued, knowing that you don't have a sword, I even prepared one for you. Although it is not a famous sword, it is definitely possible in terms of toughness. Suyu looked at the long sword in Mihawk's hand and was taken aback for a moment. This kid was absolutely utterly inferior. He became so humble in order to learn from each other. I accepted the sword. As he said, Suyu waved his hand, and the long sword in Mihawk's hand suddenly glowed blue. He immediately floated up, and finally flew towards Suyu and landed on his hand. As for the unfinished discussions, let's talk about it another day. You can live on this island for a period of time. Of course, you can eat and live on your own, don't think about eating the king's meal. Su Yu took the sword and told him one sentence, and then turned and left. Mihawk was stunned and hesitated for dozens of seconds before coming to a sense of relief. In the end, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. It's really an interesting guy. Yes, as Su Yu said just now, he is going to live on this island temporarily. Complete this unfinished competition. However, what was a bit troublesome was that he didn't bring money with him, but he couldn't rely on his own strength to eat Overlord meal, so he had to find a way to get food. As soon as Su Yu walked outside, a soft voice rang from a big tree. Su Yu, the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, the pirate giant of the old age. As soon as the voice fell, Su Yu stopped, and looked at the prestige. What appeared in his field of vision was a woman with orange hair and a hot body, wearing a short jumpsuit, high heels, and a small hat with goggles. The moment she saw Su Yu, there was a smile on her face, and then she jumped down from the big tree. Although Kurla's role in the original work is not too much, Su Yu, who is a traverser, still recognizes her. After all, because of her experience at the time, Su Yu feels quite deep, otherwise, it's really true. Can't recognize it. Many years ago, Kurla was taken as a slave by celestial dragons, which left a shadow. When others were angry, they would feel fear and autistic, and would work hard to wipe the ground in order not to be killed. After meeting the Pirates of the Sun, he regained his cheerful and optimistic character, overcame the shadows of the past and smiled. When he grows up, Kurla has a gentle and kind-hearted character, and occasionally a little rough. What's up? Su Yu hung the long sword around his waist and asked lazily. I admire you very much, it can be said that it is completely your little fan. Kurla said with a smile. Su Yu's mouth twitched when he heard this. Yes, Kurla's words caught him off guard, but he vaguely felt that this guy, 80% of them had something to find himself. Chapter 237. Su Yu stared at her for a while, and to be honest, a member of the Revolutionary Army suddenly popped out, which was indeed unexpected. There is no need to talk about these useless things, after all, everyone is very busy. Just as Kurla wanted to explain something, Su Yu added another sentence. Don't tell me, a member of the Revolutionary Army suddenly popped out, saying that it was my little fan girl is just a coincidence. Kurla laughed awkwardly when he heard the words, and finally the smile on his face gradually disappeared, saying, I didn't expect to be discovered by you. However, it is true that I am your little girl, and it is true that I came to you for something of. Indeed, Kurla did not lie on this point, she learned from a special person about the incident of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. After learning that the Super Dimension Pirate Group had attacked the world government headquarters twice, the Holy Land Mary Geois, she became very interested in this special pirate group. Of course, the reason for this feeling is that Kara was a slave to celestial dragons when he was a child. She didn't expect that besides Fisher Tiger, there were people who had rioted at the Holy Land Mary Geois. Listening to Kurla's words, Su Yu was silent for a few seconds, and then said lightly, well, I am honored to have such a little fangirl, but one size fits one size. I'm afraid of trouble. Don't ask me if I have nothing to do. Don't come to me if you have anything, goodbye. After leaving a sentence, Su Yu just turned around and walked forward slowly without encountering Kurla at all. Quote. Kurla was stunned for a few seconds, staring at Su Yu with wide eyes. Yes, Su Yu's reaction directly caught her off guard. Sure enough, the stronger the person, the more special it is. Kurla murmured, then hurried to catch up. I haven't said anything yet. You refused too quickly. What if it's good for you? Don't you want to listen? Kurla walked to Su Yu's side and quickly explained it. I don't want to. Su Yu's simple and violent answer gave Kurla a headache. Please, you at least listen to me. Su Yu frowned slightly and glanced at her. Say, oh, okay. After all, Kurla quickly adjusted his state and calmly said, that's it, I am here on behalf of the Revolutionary Army to discuss matters with you. I think, as a pirate giant in the old age, you can't know what the world government did. Therefore, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Long, wants to cooperate with you to overthrow the world government and let the world become a fair world. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As the voice fell, Kurla stared at Su Yu firmly, and began to pray secretly in his heart, hoping that Su Yu could agree. Let this world become a fair world. Su Yu smiled faintly, and then continued, what do you seem to forget? I am a pirate, I am not a great saint, there is no need to save some people like you. Besides, I didn't put world government in my eyes at all. After all, Su Yu moved on, waving his hand. But. Do not talk. As Su Yu's voice fell, a powerful coercion struck Kurla directly. In an instant, Kurla's face paled and her back felt cold. This kind of oppression grew so great that she had tried it for the first time. In the process, as in the darkness, a pair of huge eyes were staring at him. Call. Kurla gasped heavily and watched Su Yu's departure. It's terrible, it's like changing a person in an instant, and the aura it gives is completely different from the previous one. Call. Kurla sighed again, and then continued to mutter. Sorry, dragon, this task seems to be impossible to complete. A few days later, neither Kurla nor Mihawk left. The two of them still stayed here, and at the same time, somewhere in New World, Charlotte Linlin's territory. Find flowers. At this time, they are discussing what a huge conspiracy. So, old lady, so many days have passed, do you have any way to deal with Su Yu? Kaido said impatiently while wiping the mace in his hand. Normal methods certainly won't work, but do you remember the 3 ancient weapons mentioned by Captain Locks? Charlotte Linlin said, the corners of her mouth raised slightly, revealing a strange smile. 3 ancient weapons. Kaido paused. Indeed, Locks thought of a way to deal with Suyu Super Dimension Pirates and Roger Pirates. 0. You mean that ancient weapon that can destroy the world? Yes, it is. Charlotte Linlin nodded. Captain Locks didn't seize one of the ancient weapons of the 3rd generation at the moment of his death. Kaido reminded him. Captain Locks didn't find it, it doesn't mean we couldn't find it. As long as we got the 3 ancient weapons, I think we don't need it at all. Suyu puts it in our eyes. At that time, the rights of the world will usher in a new reshuffle situation. Listening to Charlotte Linlin's words, Kaido directly stopped the hand that was wiping the mace. The Valley of the Gods has disappeared, and there is no news about the king from now on. Do you have a clue? Kaido asked. Charlotte Linlin smiled slightly. You know Kaido. I won't talk nonsense with you for things you are not sure about. I have already got some information. Next, I believe it only takes a few things to get it done. It's so, why not come one, the world's largest battle? Kaido leaked a smile at this moment. After all, before Suyu appeared, this guy wanted to start the world's largest war. Of course, if he had the ability to destroy the world, it is estimated that the world would have been turned upside down by him. Chapter 238. Ha 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 ha. Just as Kaido's voice fell for a while, Charlotte Linlin's weird laughter sounded from the side. Kaido looked at Charlotte Linlin with a surprised look. To be honest, he didn't have a lot of favor with Charlotte Linlin, but now he heard her laughter, somehow he felt angry. At this moment, the expression on Charlotte Linlin's face suddenly became serious. Kaido, I hope you don't get confused. We are teaming up to destroy Suyu's gang, not to destroy the world with you. Charlotte Linlin stated her position. Indeed, she is different from Kaido. She is full of love for this world. As long as she is alive, she can eat all kinds of delicious food. As for Kaido, he has no good feelings about the world, so he wants to start a large-scale war and destroy it together. I know very well, old lady, you don't need to remind me. Kaido's momentum is also not convinced. Joking, it is different now, his strength has also been greatly increased, and he did not lose to Charlotte Linlin at all. If it were back then, Kaido would still be afraid of Charlotte Linlin. Time is hurried, and in a blink of an eye, a few more days have passed. The Whitebeard Pirates. Daddy. Marco grabbed a brand new newspaper and hurriedly ran to Whitebeard. Whitebeard glanced at him with both eyes, and then said angrily, didn't I tell you? Don't be surprised at any time. Is Ace back? After Ace was rescued, as Luffy also left with Whitebeard, Ace wanted to send Luffy back to the Chambord Islands to find his own partner. It's not Ace's thing, it's Suyu. Marco swallowed and said. Suyu. Hearing these 2 words, Whitebeard suddenly got a hint of interest, and continued, what happened to Suyu? Did he go to harass the world government again? Facing Whitebeard's question, Marco shook his head. No, it's Suyu who is going to fight the world's #1 swordsman on Konoha Island. Oh, Suyu is going to face off against that guy Hawkeye. Yes, Daddy, we have nothing to do anyway. Should we go to Konoha Island to watch? Marco stared at Whitebeard, his eyes full of expectation seemed to overflow. What's so good about an elderly guy hitting a young man? I knew the result before I even started. Whitebeard said lightly, but after seeing Marco's expectant look, he added another sentence. However, if you want to see it, you can go there. After all, I've heard that Konoha Island is an island that the world is yearning for. You can take this opportunity to see it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Thank you, Daddy. Marco had a look of excitement. At the same time, Red Hair Pirates, one of the other 4 emperors, naturally can't calm down. The world's most powerful swordsman is going to duel with the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Shanks looked at the headline on the newspaper, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and a smile of excitement leaked out. Boss, depending on your appearance, we don't want to watch this duel between the strong. Ben Beckman asked. Of course. What are we doing again? The crew not far away heard a little wind, and slowly leaned towards Shanks. Yes, guys, Suyu, who is offering a reward of 5 billion, will fight Mihawk, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, who has the title of the world's most powerful swordsman. How could such a wonderful duel miss us? What? Shanks yelled loudly while holding the newspaper. That's right, how could such a wonderful duel miss us? If you don't watch this duel, it would be a great loss for all the pirates. If we miss this duel, we will probably regret it for a long time. So, boss, we are set to see this match. Where are they going to fight? Konoha Island. If Konoha Island is not far from us, what are you waiting for? Boss, let's set off right away. Set off. Shanks shouted again, and soon the other crew members began to get busy. Shanks retracted the smile on his face, sat down slowly, and continued to read the contents of the newspaper. Do you really want to have a duel with that Suyu? Ben Beckman asked aloud. Hearing this, Shanks was silent for dozens of seconds, and then slowly said, I have broken an arm. It is estimated that he will be like Mihawk. I feel that even if I win, I can't be victorious. Call. He sighed deeply, and then said, it doesn't matter, it's a good time to witness the duel between him and Mihawk. This big showdown actually ended before it even started. I think you must remember when he fought Kaido. That guy's strength is not something that humans can do. Ben Beckman said slowly. Yeah, that man's power is probably beyond what humans can do. Shank's face instantly solidified. The news that the 2-4 emperors were going to Konoha Island soon reached the ears of the 3.6 world government. Steel, you know, we can't stop the red hair pirates and the whitebeard pirates from going to Konoha Island. Sengoku looked helpless at this time. On top of the wounds from the war, he still there is no recovery. However, it is true that they are afraid of red hair, and Whitebeard joins Suyu to make trouble. You know, it hasn't been long since the top war, and the heavy damage suffered by Marine has never recovered. Now that they heard about such a thing, how could they not be anxious? Tear. Gengu Kong directly tore the newspaper with an angry hand, and cursed angrily, damn Mihawk, what the hell is this guy doing? Chapter 239. Yes, in Gengu Kong's eyes, the culprit who provoked this incident was Mihawk, the world's most powerful swordsman. If it weren't for Mihawk to challenge Suyu, there would be no 2-4 emperors gathering on Konoha Island. Although Suyu is not known as the Emperor of the Sea, his strength and influence have already reached the standard. In other words, if Whitebeard and the red-haired Shanks are landing on Konoha Island, it is equivalent to 3-4 emperors level men gathered together. If there is a bad mind, the world government simply cannot stop it. You know, the world government has been monitoring the 4 emperors all the time. They are afraid that one of the 4 emperors will join hands with the other to destroy the balance of the New World pirates. Yup. Sengoku stared at the outside with a sharp gaze, and after a few seconds of pause, he continued, Hawkeye Mihawk is really good at playing. It caused us Marine a big trouble. Trouble. Gang Ji Yu Kong took a few 12 deep breaths directly, and suppressed his anger. This can no longer be described as a big trouble. If there are any accidents, the world government may be turbulent. I understand. The only ones who know the virtues of Suyu's gang are the warriors of our older generation. Sengoku explained a few words. Once 5 elders, now there are 2 left. If Zephyr hadn't died in battle, he might be a marshal now. Moses also died because of fighting with Aizen. All in all, the impact of Suyu's appearance on the world has been completely greater than that of Locke's, Roger. Steel Bone Kong's brows wrinkled, and his face was ugly. Are we going to intercept? Are we in a hurry? If we were to intercept it, it would be directly equivalent to turning our face with them again. In a war of the size of the top war, we Marine really can't bear it. Gengu Kong looked helpless. If this is the case, let it be natural. By the way, what did you think about what I said last time? Sengoku asked. You mean the marshal? Sengoku nodded and said faintly, as you are getting older, it's time for more capable young people to come to this position. So, who is in your heart? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The person I recommend is naturally Kuzan, one of the 3 admiral. Sengoku said slowly. Oh, isn't it? Sakazuki is also interested in this position. You recommend Kuzan. That's easy. Just let them fight a fight. Whoever wins becomes the marshal. Gengu Kong proposed. Sakazuki, I don't think it's appropriate. After all, this time he lost an arm in the war on the top, and his heart will definitely be affected to a certain extent. Sengoku said his inner thoughts. Also, this time on the top of the war, Suyu undoubtedly caused him a lot of shadow. Are you afraid? Yes, I'm afraid he will act irrationally after he becomes the marshal. You know, our Marine has already occupied the disadvantaged side. Sengoku calmly said. Follow me. After leaving a sentence, Gengu Kong walked outside, and Sengoku stepped to keep up. The place where Akainu recuperates was arranged to the holy place Mary Geoise, and the place where steel bones go to is naturally the place where Akainu recuperates. Guru. A lava arm grew out of Akainu's broken arm. His face was extremely ugly, and he pulled out the infusion bottle from his hand. Your injury is not healed, you can't leave. The nurse on the side persuaded him. Go away. Akainu let out an angry roar. Now, there is no one else except Suyu that he wants to kill. Your injury is very serious. If you insist on leaving, it is very likely that it will have a great impact on you in the future. The female nurse persuaded me. At the same time, this picture happened to be seen by Gang Bone and Sengoku, who had just rushed over. You are right, Sengoku, Sakazuki's current state is really not suitable for the marshal's position. Gengu Kong said lightly, and then walked in, of course, to stop Akainu's absurd behavior. At this time on Konoha Island, the news that Suyu was about to fight Mihawk, the world's most powerful swordsman, Hawkeye, spread throughout the New World, so in just one day, Konoha Island ushered in a huge gathering of pirate pictures. A small ship slowly approached the coast of Konoha Island. Captain Hawkins, shall we really come here? And, for such a duel, the Marine guys will definitely come. A certain crew member asked a little nervously. Yeah, and we just received the news. 2-4 Emperor's pirate groups will come to watch this showdown. We are under too much pressure 707, maybe one might not. Quote. Speaking of the back, the crew member stopped, and the following words can be guessed as long as they are not stupid. Before I came here, I had fortune telled. The chance of us having conflicts with other pirate groups is 0, so as long as we don't die, no other accidents will happen at all. Hawkins said coldly. Hearing this, the hearts of the people were relaxed a lot. After all, what the boss said could not be wrong. Boss Hawkins, look over there, it seems that besides us, that guy is also here. The man standing beside Hawkins said. After Hawkins heard of his reputation, what appeared in his field of vision was undoubtedly Kid, who was also one of the supernovae. It's not surprising. Both four emperors are interested in this duel, let alone us. Hawkins replied slowly. Yes, but Konoha Island is really different from other islands. Regardless of its reputation, it is now queuing honestly and entering in an orderly manner. A man said with a little surprise in his heart. Screamed. Chapter 240. Kid stood on the bow, staring at the densely packed ships ahead, frowning slightly. Because all the ships here are honestly queuing to enter. As a result, their ship was far away and could not jump in the queue. This is slow, when will it be able to queue to us? I really want to sail and jump over. Too many people come to Konoha Island today. As a result, after a long time, there are still many ships in front of him. Captain Kid, this Konoha Island is the residence of the Super Dimension Pirates, not to mention Suyu, who has a bounty of up to 5 billion, and Aizen, the leader of World Blade, can be here. We are still. He dared not speak at the end, because he had seen Captain Kid's angry face. Kid, let's proceed with caution. Compared with other islands, Konoha Island is still very different, besides. Even the two sea emperors will come here to watch the battle. If it gets into trouble, it is very likely that it will be hard for itself. Hira also walked to the bow, put it on his shoulder, and persuaded. Just kidding, the people here are not simple characters. If they dare to jump off the boat, the latter will be unthinkable. Here, even the world government dare not mess around. That's it. In fact, Kid is just a cheer, he is still very sensible. After all, their purpose is to watch this wonderful duel, not to come here to make trouble. At the same time, the other side. Captain, the one not far away seems to be Kid. That seems to be Kid's boat. A pirate reminded him using his sight glasses, watching the distance. Kid, I didn't expect that he would also come here to watch the battle. One of the 11 supernovae Apu slowly walked on the bow, looking into the distance. He was wearing red and white clothes, tied with a blue silk on his waist and abdomen. There is also a long braid. Captain Apu, it is still not suitable to cause trouble today. After all, the owner of this site is a member of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Today, there are two sea emperors watching the battle. The pirate holding the sight glasses turned his head and spoke cautiously, for fear of offending the captain. Because in the Chambord Islands, the two clashed and forged hatred. He is afraid of looking for Kid here to seek revenge with Captain Arp's temper. Do you think I'm stupid? Today, two of you are here to watch the game. Sooner or later, Kid's stinky boy will clean up, but it's not now. He said calmly. He also knows what the situation is now. Even though he was 10 times stronger, he didn't dare to cause trouble on Konoha Island. Because this is the territory of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Suddenly at this moment, a huge ship came into the sight of the surrounding pirate group. At this moment, most of the pirate groups took the initiative to give up their positions. Yes, it was not the ordinary pirates who came here, but the Whitebeard Pirates, which owns one of the four emperors. Goo la la la. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Whitebeard's laughter rang around. There are really a lot of people here today. Unexpectedly, Suyu's change of order and the battle with that guy Hawkeye attracted so many people. Whitebeard stood on the bow, looking around. Yes, the battle between the world's largest swordsman and the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group naturally attracted the pirates of the entire sea area. Marco stood beside Whitebeard, staring at the surrounding pirate group, faintly dow. However, at this time, he was a little excited, because soon he would be able to witness Suyu's battle with his own eyes. Can you be contemporary with your daddy without aging after a few decades? In addition, Marine Admiral Akainu had too many secrets in his body. Let him admire it very much. Suyu's combat power. We had a plan when we were at the top of the war, it was so incredible that even the Marine's highest combat power, Akainu, was hanged and beaten. Whitebeard captain of the 3rd Division, Joe Standing Whitebeard spoke on the right. Now the second team captain, Ace is not here, so he is with him by his father's side. Unexpectedly, the four emperors. Whitebeard actually came. I heard that Whitebeard and Suyu are very good friends and don't know whether they are true or not. Nonsense, of course it's true. Didn't you watch the live broadcast of Top War? Suyu helped the Whitebeard pirates make a big fuss. Yes, I remember it too, but the only pity is that I don't know why it was disconnected later. No matter what, we still have to be careful. There are rules for this island. Whitebeard's boat is very large, compared to other boats, it looks very obvious, naturally very eye-catching. And the exclusive emblem of the Whitebeard pirate banner, naturally represents the arrival of the Sea Emperor Whitebeard himself. Behind that huge ship were many ships of the Whitebeard team, all of them followed Whitebeard to watch the duel that would take place on Konoha Island. Look, that ship over there, that seems to be Red Hair Pirates. I saw a long red ship not far away. On the ship there was a conspicuous flag, a skull, 3 scratches on the left eye, and 2 sword and forks behind the skull. This banner, as long as it is the Pirates of New World, this is one of the New World 4 Emperors, the pirate group of the red-haired Shanks. As reported, 2 Sea Emperors came here to watch the battle. Bej, the godfather of the gang, sat on the bow, staring deeply at the 2 conspicuous ships not far away. 4 Emperors Whitebeard, 4 Emperors red-haired Shanks, these 2 people who are like emperors at sea, it is really shocking to actually appear here today. Trafalgar Law at the surgical hospital, staring into the distance. Captain, there are so many powerful pirates gathered outside, or you should go back to the house to hide. In front of him, a big white bear in yellow clothes said nervously. Today is a duel between Super Dimension Pirate Group Suyu and Mihawk, the world's #1 swordsman, Hawkeye. Almost the entire sea area has a face, and famous pirates have rushed here to watch the battle. Many pirates are arrogant masters, so many pirates gathered together, it is inevitable that there will be conflicts. Don't forget what this place is, this is the site of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, and Konoha Island is also known as the safest island in the entire sea. Who do you think dares to make trouble? He didn't care at all. I am not afraid that someone is making trouble here. Okay, then. The big white bear in a yellow coat nodded slightly, staring at the two conspicuous ships in the distance. When the four emperors arrived, almost everyone's eyes were attracted by these two ships. After all, the Emperor of the Sea could not be seen by everyone. They are in charge of a huge area in the seas of New World. Zhao's Zhao, if it weren't for Suyu of the Super Dimension Pirates Group today, duel with Hawkeye Mihawk. Otherwise, many pirates are afraid that they will never see the Emperor of the Sea in their entire lives. Did today's duel attract so many people? In Konoha Island, a man flew in the air, staring at the distant entrance. There are nearly 100 entrances. Pirate boats enter and pirates land at all times. And this man standing in the air is undoubtedly the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, Suyu, a super pirate with a bounty of 5 billion. It is also the giant of the pirates of the old age. Fortunately, our Konoha Island was created large enough, otherwise so many pirates would enter, and it would really not be able to hold it. Hashirama sat on a huge tree looking up at the location of the exit. I don't understand, why does this battle that I knew before it started attract so many people? Uchiha Madara whispered while standing beside him. Chapter 241. We know it, others don't. Senju Hashirama replied from the side. Yes, after all, our captain now offers a full 5 billion bounty, and the 5 billion big pirates are competing with the world's most powerful swordsmen. Who doesn't want to watch this kind of battle? Wu Luki said with some pride, as if the bounty of up to 5 billion is his. Hey, don't discuss it anymore, it's time to come down to eat. I saw a woman with blue hair and blue eyes under the tree shouting loudly towards the top of the tree. This is Rem. Next to her, in red, with red pupils is Ram. It's dinner, it's dinner. Ram also raised his head and shouted at the two people at the top of the tree. Although it is reported that the battle will start, it is not the time to start the battle, so you can go to dinner now. Suyu, have dinner, you won't have your meal if you don't come again. If you don't come down, there will be no food for you. Seeing that Suyu was still standing in the air, the two women reminded them again. Coming. He nodded slightly, landed on the ground, and went to eat. For him, eating was comparable to a duel with Hawkeye Mihawk. After all, he already knows the gap between himself and Mihawk. The reason why he continues to complete this unfinished game is because Mihawk always comes to ask Suyu if he is free. Konoha Island, sure. Daddy, the red-haired guy is here too, 710, shall we do something? Joe said on the side. It's just a stinky kid. We came to see Suyu and the eagle-eyed kid duel, not here to fight him. For Shanks, the red-haired Shanks, who is much younger than himself, he doesn't have much good face. Repeatedly came to his boat and clashed with him. Although their relationship was not bad, it was not so friendly either. Hey, Whitebeard, we meet again. The red-haired Shanks stood on the bow and waved enthusiastically at Whitebeard. But Whitebeard ignored him, standing on the boat, watching the front. Ha ha ha, the boss is so pitiful, Whitebeard completely ignored you. Aside, the fat man eating chicken legs laughed and teased. It's not normal, Whitebeard usually ignores us. Ben Beckman said. This is a bit too much, our boss is one of the 4 emperors anyway. In the past, many of us had fought against their Whitebeard pirates. Okay, it's not a big deal. We all understand Whitebeard's character. Remember, our purpose this time is not to fight. Shanks said, smiling slightly, and continued to shout at Whitebeard. Whitebeard, I came to watch Suyu's battle this time, but I brought a lot of fine wine from my hometown. Would you like to try it? Seeing that Whitebeard ignored him, Hongfa jumped to the captain of Whitebeard with a jug of wine. Whitebeard squinted his eyes and stared at the red-haired Shanks. Good wine. It seems that you stinky kid prepared well. When he heard that there was a good wine, he asked the red hair. Although he is over 100 years old, an old man in a serious illness, his favorite is still fine wine. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Father, now you are unwell and you can't drink. Marco's face was a little helpless, his old man, even if he was seriously ill, still couldn't stop his drinking habit. Don't worry Marco, this time I brought the wine from my hometown, but the good wine I have treasured for a long time, it does not hurt the body, helps blood circulation, and increases the body's resistance. The red hair waved his hand and smiled. Yi, the crew behind him, carrying a large jug of wine, moved over from the ship. Red hair, you don't want this one, your family's wine is not good for your body. Marco said in an angry voice. It's okay, Marco, it's okay to drink less. Father. Marco still wants to continue to persuade, but seeing such a scene, I must not be able to persuade. There is a good wine, then wait until Suyu fights with the little ghost of Yingyan, then enjoy it. Although Whitebeard wanted to drink very much, the sons beside him were very concerned about his body, and he didn't want to let down. So I have to find a reason. After Suyu and Mihawk fight with Mihawk, he will have a party. Then there will be a reason to drink. I think so too. Redhead smiled slightly, nodded, and said nothing more. Today, He is carrying the fine wine that he has collected for many years in his hometown, and he naturally prepared it for Suyu and Whitebeard. After half a day, almost all the pirates have entered Konoha Island. It has to be said that Konoha Island is really huge. Even if there are many pirates, it doesn't seem crowded here. Because countless murderous pirates were squeezed in here, the residents in the end were very scared, and even dared not open shops. But Suyu personally said that if anyone dares to make trouble here, he will have to pay a certain price no matter where he flees. With his words, those ordinary people boldly dare to open a shop. Originally this game should have been said by the island owner Hashirama. But Hashirama said that Suyu himself said that the deterrence is greater. After all, as the captain, Suyu not only represents Hashirama's meaning, but also his own meaning. In this way, no matter where the vicious pirates from the sea area come here, they have to be obedient. Don't dare to make trouble. Otherwise, the entire pirate group will be beheaded. They fully believe that Suyu, the captain of the super-dimensional pirate group, can do it. And countless pirates came here, naturally bringing huge wealth to the local residents. Now they not only dislike these pirates, but they also welcome them very warmly. Because of Suyu's words, they believe that no one dares to make trouble here. Master Suyu, Hawkeye Mahawk is here. In the house, Suyu was very lem and they were enjoying some food, and a man came to report. Let him wait, just eating is not suitable for exercise. The man nodded slightly. Okay, Lord Suyu. How boring you are. Suyu, I didn't expect you, a troublesome person, would actually agree to such a request from that kid. Uchiha Madara said slightly surprised. Thinking that it's okay, I agreed. Suyu replied without caring. After the news of your duel with Mahawk came out, a large group of pirates swarmed in. I guess, if the identity is not allowed, maybe marine guys have also come. Senju Hashirama said with a smile on the side. Whitebeard, red hair, tut. Suyu said, curling his mouth and shaking his head, paused for a while, and continued. It is estimated that the world government is slowly worrying about it now, afraid that we will take the opportunity to discuss the above plan and deal with them. After that, Suyu opened his own properties panel. Seeing Sharingan's progress, he nodded in satisfaction. Host. Suyu. Summon. Aizen, 75%, Rem, 70%, Hashirama, 80%, Wuluki, 70%, Jiraiya, 70%, Tornado, 70%, Wang Yi, 65%, Denisha, 65%, Kong Na, 65%, Uchiha Madara, 70%, Butterfly Channa, 20%. Summoning character inheritance. Kido, Hogyoku, 0500s, Aizen, Ghost Blood, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode, Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Roll, Eternal Mangekyo 966 1000s, Madara. Summoning value. 0,400,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Purple Fire, Max Thor, 1036 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1999 2000 Observation Hockey, 1999 2000 Conqueror's Hockey, 1258 2000. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Mission call for 12 crew members, 11/12. Chapter 242. When his eyes were on the summoning value, he frowned slightly. Now he has summoned 11 companions, and if he wants to summon the 12th companion, he needs a summon value of 400,000. With such an astonishing amount, how much treasure does he need to rob before he can gather it all? It would be unrealistic in a few years to collect treasures of up to 400,000 summoning value. It seems that after the decisive battle, you have to find some way to collect the treasure, Suyu murmured inwardly. The world government is already badly injured and should not dare to come here. Suyu, when are you going to fight the guy with the world's most powerful swordsman? Senju Hashirama asked curiously. Suyu agreed to the duel with Mahawk, but the two have not decided on the specific time. However, Mahawk came more often than when he hadn't agreed. So when this topic is mentioned, people around are also very curious. Now, as soon as the voice fell, everyone was slightly taken aback. Do you mean that you are going to have a duel with him now? Wang also became interested at this time. Why not? This guy pesters me all day to fight me. It's time for him to give up. If he doesn't fight him, I will be annoyed by him. During these hours, Mahawk stayed on Konoha Island, and asked as soon as he saw him, wanting to fight him. But every time it was delayed by him, he originally thought that if he agreed, he should feel more at ease. What Suyu never expected was that good fellow, he came more frequently. Just like just now, he came to ask again. Suyu sighed lightly, and continued, it's time to fight him, let him completely give up. The so-called title of the world's #1 swordsman might be replaced today. It's time to go out and challenge. Suyu stood up and walked out the door. Unexpectedly, we will fight so soon. Since we left many years ago, I haven't seen Suyu fighting for a long time. Let me join in the fun. Senju Hashirama said from the side and followed out. Although I know the result of the battle, I just happen to have nothing to do. It's quite boring. Let's be an after-dinner show. Wang also said, and followed him out. Let's go, Chanel, this should be the first time you saw Suyu show off, let's go out and have a look. Rem and Ram, pulling Connor and the butterfly Channa out also went out the door. Ah, you are all gone. No, my stomach hurts as soon as I finish eating, I want to go to the toilet. Wuluki just wanted to stand up and felt as if something was rolling in his stomach, covering his stomach. Just ran to the bathroom. Outside, Hawkeye Mihawk carried 12 sharp sword, and Black Sword Knight stood at the door, waiting quietly. Let's go, finish the fight early, and drive early. Su Yu walked out the door and said to Mihawk, who was standing outside the door. Solve this matter as soon as possible. He was annoying him all day long. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Really, Hawkeye Mihawk suddenly felt energetic when he heard it. As a swordsman, almost no one was his opponent. He has never found a suitable opponent since the redhead broke his arm. And Su Yu is undoubtedly the top swordsman he has encountered again since his red hair. If you don't fight him for a day, don't tell the victory or defeat with him, he will be impatient in his heart. Maybe this is the strong person's pursuit of a stronger heart. He stayed on this Konoha island for a long time, and finally waited until he agreed to a duel, but today was a complete set of time. After a while, they could really start a duel, how could he be unhappy? Su Yu, the formation has already been prepared for you. Senju Hashirama said from the side. Since Su Yu agreed to fight with Hawkeye Mihawk, they began to prepare a huge formation for them to fight. Otherwise, with the strength of the two of them, if they start a battle in the center of Konoha, they will inevitably lead many innocent people. Let's go. Su Yu nodded slightly without expressing much. Although Mihawk is looking forward to this battle. He even planned this battle as the most important battle in his life. But for him, it was just a small fight. In order to satisfy the fighting spirit of a swordsman. Konoha Island Center. Unexpectedly, just after coming today, Su Yu will start a duel with Hawkeye Mihawk. This trip is worthwhile. Soon after today, news of Su Yu and Mihawk's duel spread throughout Konoha Island. Find flowers. Yes, during the war, the live broadcast was suddenly interrupted, and we didn't know the situation in the middle, but when the world government announced the reward, Su Yu of the Super Dimension Pirates directly soared to 5 billion. A pirate spoke enviously, holding Su Yu's bounty. Because of Su Yu's skills, and a bounty of up to 5 billion, many pirates in the sea have regarded him as a pursuit goal. Adore him. It's no wonder that even the leader of World Blade is just his crew. How strong is it to have Captain Su Yu who can make Aizen loyal to the world's Blade leader? Today they will witness his combat power with their own eyes. The battle coordinates are on the easternmost side of Konoha Island. Go quickly. It's too late if you are too late. 0. In order not to affect the residents of the island, Su Yu built a huge formation near the sea. Can accommodate countless pirates to watch the battle. Konoha Island, in a restaurant. Gu la la la. Boy, Su Yu is going to have a duel with Mihawk Hawkeye so soon. The huge man who was eating in a restaurant suddenly let out a burst of laughter after hearing the news that the duel was about to come. Yes, he is one of the 4 emperors, Whitebeard, and today it is him and the red-haired Shanks, 4 emperors who come here to watch the battle. 4 emperors Whitebeard. Suddenly behind him, a man asked. Everyone heard the reputation, and then they all took a look at the man who was talking. What's the matter with you? Marco, who was sitting next to Whitebeard, asked. Those who came to Whitebeard, according to normal circumstances, were pirates who didn't know the heights and heights of the earth to challenge Whitebeard. After all, in addition to the title of 4 emperors, his father also has the title of the strongest man in the world. So it has become a target for many people to challenge. However, it also gives them a headache. These challengers are like flies. Master Su Yu asked me to invite you over, and I have prepared a good viewing position for you. The man continued to speak. He was ordered by Su Yu to come to Whitebeard to invite him to watch the game. Chapter 243. Hearing this, Whitebeard paused, then said, I see. After that, he said to his sons again, it's time to go. Su Yu's duel with the little devil Hawkeye is about to begin. Although I haven't touched wine during this period of time, it is really sad for those who love wine. But he is not depressed either. Because he knows that the battle between Su Yu and Mihawk will end soon. If nothing else, you can have a drink tonight, but there is no reason to persuade him to stop drinking at that time. Going to watch the game now can be regarded as a pastime. What he looks forward to most is the evening reception. Oh, old man. Seeing the look of his father, Marco immediately understood it, and then shook his head reluctantly. If it were just the battle between Su Yu and Mihawk, the father would not be as happy as he is now. He speculated that dad must be thinking about the evening party now. Marco used to hide the wine secretly, but he would be found no matter where he hides it. Konoha Island, another area. In a pub. Cheers. The people in the tavern are all pirates without exception, and all of them are from Red Hair pirates. The other pirates did not dare to step in. And outside the door of the tavern, there were a lot of pirates lying, because the reputation of the 4 emperors was too loud, causing many pirates to rush to challenge after they heard that 4 emperors red-haired Shanks was here. But without exception, they were all killed in seconds, and the gap between them and the 4 emperors was not a star and a half. It can't be compared at all. Boss, I have received the news that Mihawk and Su Yu will start fighting soon. A tall fat man with a piece of meat in his hand reminded him. Boss, it's been a long time since you fought Mihawk Hawkeye last time. I haven't seen Hawkeye take action for a long time. A Red Hair Pirates official said. Yeah, since one of my arms was broken, he has never challenged me again. The red-haired Shanks smiled slightly and touched the shoulder of the broken arm with his hand. Some miss. He has bet this arm on New World and on Luffy. Although Su Yu has strange powers, he seems to have the power of multiple devil fruits, and his strength is extremely terrifying, but this duel is just a competition of swordsmanship. Boss, do you think Suyu can win? Ben Beckman asked. Suyu's strength and their red hair pirates had the same advice. It was really terrifying. Even Kaido, one of the four emperors, would flee in front of him. Not only does he have the ability to fly into the air, but there is no problem even falling into the sea. It also possesses various unpredictable abilities. They didn't deny his strength, but this duel was nothing but swordsmanship. Hawkeye Mihawk is the world's #1 swordsman. Even at the peak of his hand, I felt very tired to compete with him in swordsmanship. The red-haired, Gudong, took a sip of his drink and missed it. Passed. Over there, you mean that in this duel, Suyu's swordsmanship is likely to lose to Hawkeye Mihawk? Reikalu asked curiously, who was biting at the meat. We all know the strength of Suyu, and we have the most powerful combat power in the entire sea. However, if you only compete in swordsmanship, then it is Mihawk Hawkeye. I think Suyu may not be the enemy. Usopp's father Usopp interjected. As a cadre of red hair pirates, he is qualified to speak his own words. Does it seem to be Hawkeye that Mihawk has a better chance of winning? A pirate of the pirate group said. No, Mihawk's strength is indeed strong. Swordsmanship is the best in the entire sea, but no one knows the foundation of Suyu. Shanks looked solemn and pondered for a moment. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The surrounding crew members also watched him nervously and listened carefully to what he was about to say. In that case, do you want to take a gamble? Ben Beckman, the deputy captain of Red Hair Pirates, suddenly interjected. What a gambling. Hearing this, many crew members of Red Hair Pirates showed interest. Just bet on whether Suyu will win or Mihawk will win this swordsmanship showdown. He didn't mean anything, and directly said the bet. If there is no accident, there will be a party tonight, so how about the party who loses paying for alcohol and meat? Suyu's 5 billion bounty is even the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, but I pressed Hawkeye Mihawk because this competition is swordsmanship. As soon as the words fell, a pirate stood up and shouted. He naturally saw Suyu's bravery in the red-haired captain, and even Kaido was not an opponent at all. Fighting beasts Kaido has never performed anything about swordsmanship from beginning to end. So he thinks that although Suyu is very strong, his swordsmanship may not be so strong. Suyu is a 5 billion super big pirate, but also a giant of the old age. I press Mihawk. I pressed Mihawk. Everyone spoke out, believing that Mihawk had won. When they followed the red hair's arm was still unbroken. They are naturally honored to have seen it. Redhead fights with Mihawk. Don't worry, check in. This is the money for the night's wine and meat. Ben Beckman found a small notebook from somewhere. I wrote down the names of the people who had just spoken and bet. It seems to be prepared in advance. Boss, whoever will win you win. Almost all the pirates in the tavern are pressing Mihawk, and even the fat guy Reikalu who was eating barbecue is hesitant to press Mihawk at this time. I pressed Suyu to win. Shanks drank a drink without thinking too much, and bet on Suyu to win. He has absolute confidence in Suyu and believes that he will definitely win. I also pressed Suyu to win. At this moment, Ben Beckman, who had been silently taking notes, also said at this time. The entire half page of the book was won by Mihawk. Now he and Shanks are the only ones pressing Suyu. The duel between Suyu and Mihawk was about to begin, so Shanks didn't delay too long here. Shanks just walked out of the tavern. Not far from the tavern, there was a sound. Look, the president, that is the red-haired Shanks from one of the 4 emperors. One person started with a newspaper in shock. Today's news will definitely shock the world. Morganzy, one of the 6 emperors of the pirate underground world, squinted and said. That's right, the president, 4 emperors Whitebeard, red-haired Shanks, and some supernova pirates. This time the news is enough to shock the whole world. Wait for the news released by us. After a long time. Konoha Island, the Far East. Suyu and Mihawk stand in the center of the ring. The distance is full of pirates. Of course, at this level of battle, anyone who gets close is looking for death. Can you start? Mihawk stood opposite him. His 3.6 expression was a bit dignified, and he stared sharply at Suyu. Of course. Suyu squinted and smiled slightly. Brush. As soon as the words fell, Mihawk pulled out the 12-sharp sword behind him with extremely fast hand speed, and waved a huge blue sword energy at Suyu. So fast. Luo Shuangtong watched the scene fiercely. Hawkeye Mihawk is worthy of being the world's largest swordsman. His sword is so fast that many people don't even see it clearly. His sword aura has already been cut across the air. Seeing that the blue sword aura was about to be cut to Suyu, Suyu gently pulled out the sword from his waist, and with a light wave, it cut off the sword aura of Hawkeye Mihawk. Don't try. Don't hide any moves. This matchup is the last time. Suyu put his sword on his shoulder and said. Chapter 244. After hearing Suyu's words, Mihawk's eyes gradually changed, and then it was clear that he was going to be serious. At the same time, I saw him holding the Black Sword Knight, and a force of pressure was released from his body. It's such a strong coercion, so far away, we can still feel it so clearly. This battle will undoubtedly be a very exciting battle. It's not in vain. There are very few battles that can be watched in the pirate world. Yeah, when the red-haired Shanks fought against Hawkeye, we only learned about it afterwards. Many pirates onlookers began to discuss, and some of the weaker pirates couldn't believe their eyes, because they saw the black air lingering on Mihawk's black sword. It looks very conspicuous, like a suffocation. As long as you look at the black sword, you can feel the intense pressure. As if facing the abyss. Unexpectedly, at the beginning, this Mihawk has completely used his true ability. Ben Beckman said suspiciously. He followed the redhead for the longest time. Naturally, he often saw Redhead Shanks and Hawkeye Mihawk fighting for 12 fights. And at every critical moment, when Mihawk uses the true power of the Black Sword, the red-haired Shanks will be briefly suppressed. The strength of the world's #1 swordsman is really not a boast. The swordsmanship is superb. The reason we haven't seen it is because there is no powerful person to force him to use this trick. A senior pirate stood in the distance. Her face was heavy, and she didn't know what she was thinking about. Mihawk still has such an ability, and the Black Sword is so strong that this news is bound to shock the entire sea. Elsewhere, Morgans looked at the audience stage excitedly, and then described something in the notebook. Is this the real power of the Black Sword? Su Yu stared at the Black Sword in Mihawk's hand. According to the original work, it is the Black Sword of one of the 12 Great Jobs, and the 12 Great Jobs is the top blade in the pirate world. As Mihawk is known as the world's great swordsman, the Black Sword that owns one of the 12 freelancers will naturally not attract attention. But according to the original work, he didn't know that this Black Sword could still envelop the black energy. This Black Sword was very hostile to him as if it had a life. Swish. Mihawk swung the slash once again. This time the slash was Black Sword aura, like chaos, as if it could swallow everything. Even the many pirates who watched the battle from a distance felt the power of this Black Sword aura. Swish. Su Yu also waved the blade in his hand, cutting out a white sword aura, and the Black Sword aura collided with the white sword. There was a loud noise. Then in the center of Jian-Chi, cracks began to appear, and then spread everywhere. The earth began to shake. The world's largest swordsman, Hawkeye's Mihawk swordsmanship is really top-notch. If you meet other people, I am afraid that even your sword will not be able to stop it. Su Yu's face solemnly stared at the man in a black suit. Then continue. But it was me that you met today. As soon as the voice fell, he stepped forward. Although he could not use other abilities, he only needed to use swordsmanship. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But his own swordsmanship is top-notch. When Su Yu was holding a white long sword and went straight forward to fight Mihawk, and he was naturally worthy. The two swords collided. A group of black and white ripples swelled in all directions, like a violent wind, and there was a trace of lethality in it, and everyone in the distance felt the extremely sharp sword aura. Crack. Cracks appeared in the formation under the feet of the two people, like a cobweb, densely packed, and both of them had their feet sunk in. It's really fun to learn from you. There was a smile on Su Yu's face, calmly, as if he hadn't used all his strength. Mihawk, on the other hand, has a solemn expression, holding Black Sword in both hands and constantly exerting force. Su Yu used force again to increase the strength of the blade in his hand, and the two directly flew out. But Su Yu took 2 steps back, and Mihawk took 8 steps to stabilize his figure. What? That guy Hawkeye was beaten back. Red hair pirates, as Rachel said in shock. Even the meat in his hand stopped at his mouth. Others may not know the true power of the Hawkeye Mihawk Black Sword. But they are familiar with red hair pirates, and Black Sword exerts real power, and can even temporarily suppress their captain, the 4 Emperors Red Hair Shanks. Although the true power of using the Black Sword will consume a lot of armament hockey. But don't forget, he can briefly suppress the red-haired Shanks who is the 4 Emperors. Su Yu, is he even more powerful in swordsmanship? Shanks looked solemn and stared at the two people on the battlefield with squinted eyes. He knows the true power of Mihawk Black Sword, and that even he feels the pressure. After Mihawk was bounced off, he didn't panic, but smiled. Yes, a slight smile. His level is destined to stand at the top, but it is too cold to stand at the top. Standing at the top will naturally suffer from loneliness. Because no one's swordsmanship can compare with him, he has no suitable opponent. After years of searching in the sea, I only encountered Roronoa Zoro with great potential. But now he is still too weak. Want to fight him? It will take many years of training. But now, after many years, he finally found a swordsman who can compare with him. Do not. It should be said that he is a master of swordsmanship above him. He hasn't felt this pressure for a long time, and now 713 feels it again and makes his mouth smile. He didn't back down, but took the initiative to respond, holding Black Sword in both hands, armament hockey wrapped around his arms. With one stride, he confronted Su Yu again. When. The two of them made several moves in an instant, and the sword aura was in the air, the white sword aura and the black sword aura intertwined, and the ripples formed continued to oscillate in all directions. Every sword aura carries the breath of the Overlord. The battlefield at the feet of the two of them continued to shatter, and countless cracks spread to all directions, describing their fighting power. Look, the sky is cracked. Suddenly, a person spoke out loudly with his finger at Tianchong. I saw a huge opening above the sky, and the clouds inside were rolling, very obvious. It really broke apart like the sky. Even the clouds in the sky can be split into 2 halves. The strength of the two is really terrifying. Yes, one is Mihawk, the world's largest swordsman, Hawkeye, and the other is Su Yu, the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Both are not fuel-efficient lamps. When Su Yu dodged Hawkeye's slash with keen skill, grabbed the loophole, and tried to slash his waist. But Hawkeye reacted quickly and turned the black sword back. Blocked that fatal slash. Chapter 245. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. When Mihawk blocked Su Yu's blow, Then his arm bounced it away forcefully, and then slashed a huge black sword aura, which was mixed with the power of a black sword. There is also a powerful armament haki. Possess the ability to cut everything. Sword chi struck, causing more dense cracks to appear on the ground that was already shattered, as if it was about to be unsupported. Brush. Suyu stared at the huge black sword aura. Not only was there not a trace of fear in his pupils, he waved and cut the sword aura and went straight to Mihawk. Brush. Seeing that his pupils contracted violently, Mihawk took a step back and slashed to prevent Suyu from approaching. But his speed was so fast, a sideways dodge his attack, and kept pulling the distance. I didn't expect that Suyu, the captain of the Super Dimension pirate group that suddenly appeared, is even so powerful in swordsmanship. He deserves to be a guy who has lost 5 billion from the sky. Even Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, dare not fight it hard and needs to keep moving away. In the distance, a pirate hiding behind a rock stared at the situation ahead with some surprise. I thought that Mihawk had the upper hand in the swordsmanship competition, but I didn't expect that Mihawk would look a little weak against Suyu. Of course, if under normal circumstances, Suyu's swordsmanship would definitely be inferior to Mihawk, but not long ago, he had obtained a swordsmanship experience package, which made his swordsmanship very superb. Brush. Suyu was extremely fast, evading Mihawk's slashes continuously, and then stepped into Mihawk's attack range. Seeing that Mihawk's pupils shrank violently, he didn't expect the opponent to be so fast that he dodged countless sword chi in a moment and came to him. Since they couldn't pull the violently away, the two began to fight hard again. The two blades were constantly clashing, and countless times they shook black and white sword energy, attacking all directions. Countless ripples shook the surroundings. Brush. Facing Mihawk's powerful attack, Suyu appeared very free and easy, and he was able to resist with a light blow. But Mihawk felt the tremendous pressure. Your swordsmanship is undoubtedly superb, but the speed is too slow. Suyu swung his sword lightly, his arm seemed to be weak, and the slash seemed soft and without lethality. But only Mihawk knew how powerful the slash was. Unexpectedly, you can make me feel such a great pressure, I am ashamed of the world's #1 swordsman. A lot of sweat appeared on Mihawk's forehead, and he held a black sword in his hand, covering armament haki again, and black gas entangled. Looking at this formation, it seems that he is going to come up with a big move. Well, it seems that you want a showdown. Suyu said faintly, accompanied by a blue light emerging from his body, and then slowly floated up. The long sword in his hand also began to exude a sword aura. Mihawk raised his head, waved the long sword in his hand, followed closely, and slashed towards the sky. Along with the sound of swords, a green sword gasped toward the air and rose into the sky. Suyu saw it and swung his sword quickly. The purple sword energy turned into a giant dragon in the air, and the purple dragon opened its mouth directly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Bang! There was a sound. A deafening sound spread around, and a powerful air current rushed around. Crack! The ground Mihawk was stepping on shattered directly, and his whole person sank a little, and sweat came out on his forehead. According to this situation, he would definitely lose in the near future. Drink! Mihawk roared and exerted all his strength, and the blue veins erected in many places on his body. By mobilizing his own strength, the green sword energy he released became obviously huge. The impact directly caused Suyu to keep rising. Good fellow, I really didn't expect you to keep a hand. Suyu frowned slightly, and at the same time, a pair of horns grew on his forehead. In the next second, Suyu clearly felt that his own power had become enormous. Drink. With Suyu's soft drink, the sword energy he released began to grow stronger. The situation turned around again, and the purple sword aura obviously began to swallow the green sword aura. And Mihawk's face began to become more ugly. What? The last sound of Mihawk sounded, and the ground directly caused a violent explosion, and smoke and dust mixed with rubble flying everywhere. Thick smoke directly rose into the sky. After a while, the smoke became thinner. Suyu put away the long sword and landed. Came in front of Mihawk. You lose. Mihawk lay on the ground, looking at a huge sword gap caused by the sword aura. There was a smile of relief. I lost. Suyu glanced at him, then turned and waved his hand. There will be a period later. Seeing Suyu about to leave, Mihawk immediately sat up. In the future, will we still have a chance to compete? Hearing this, Suyu stopped walking, not looking at him. Kaido. What will happen in the future? Let's talk about it in the future. I will take back the title of the world's most powerful swordsman. Mihawk said firmly. Suyu couldn't help but turned his head and said speechlessly, come on, don't want to find excuses to discuss with me. Indeed, Mihawk is not interested in the title of the world's most powerful swordsman at all. The reason for saying this is to find an excuse to discuss with Suyu. Mihawk was at a loss for words. Suyu glanced at him, then turned and left slowly. Far away, many pirates looked at the movement ahead. Did the points be the winner? Is the world's #1 swordsman, Eagle Eye, Mihawk lost? Is the position of the great swordsman going to be handed over to others today? Diaresis Suyu was so strong in swordsmanship, even if Mihawk used the strongest black sword power at the beginning, he still couldn't save the situation. Ben Beckman opened his mouth in a pity. I miscalculated. I thought that Suyu would lose on swordsmanship, but I didn't expect that swordsmanship was so strong. It seems that I have to pay for wine and meat tonight. A tall fat man said with some regret. Who would have thought that the world's largest swordsman would have lost to others while competing in swordsmanship? The world's #1 swordsman competed in swordsmanship on Konoha Island and lost to Suyu, the captain of the Super Dimension Pirates. It seems that this will be news that will shock the entire sea. Standing somewhere in the audience, Morgans watched everything on the stage with a smile on his face, and recorded the big news that will shock the entire sea in his notes. At the end of the battle, many people began to leave here. It's been a long time since Mihawk. A voice came, stopping Mihawk who was walking. Shanks. Mihawk turned around and looked behind him. He was wearing a red shirt with 3 obvious scars on his face and red hair with a broken arm. Zhao Dahao, is there anything to do with me? Mihawk asked calmly. The strength of the guy Suyu is really unpredictable. Even if you lose to him, it's no big deal. After all, except for swordsmanship accidents, the guy is also very strong overall. He can directly defeat Kaido in a short time. Shanks laughed. When he opened his mouth, he still cared about a friend he hadn't seen in many years. I know, he is very strong. Mihawk didn't say much, just nodded, approving Suyu's ability. There is a cocktail party in the evening, come on, we haven't had a drink together for a long time. Shanks smiled and continued to persuade. No need, it's been a long time since we had a drink together, let's relive the past. Mihawk. Although Shanks has become the 4 emperors, he is still the same character he used to be, easygoing, so his crew would like to tease him. But when it comes to danger, everyone will not abandon who is Shin. Mihawk also knows the character of Shanks.